Hey, what's going on? Yeah, how's everyone doing? Sorry for being late. Trying to get some stuff working. I can't hear my own audio. There's some kind of problem with the monitor function, but I figure as long as you guys can hear it, it matters. So, can you guys hear me okay? Even though I can't hear myself, let me know. Okay, sounds fine. All right, so I'll just have to deal without hearing myself. So be it. But yeah, how's everybody doing? We're gonna continue from what we were talking about last week. Actually, let me make sure my earphones are working in general. Maybe it's not even just a monitor. Maybe I'm just gonna play myself some audio and see if I can hear it. Let me just find some audio to play for myself. Yeah, but this is gonna be a good one. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your enemies, tell everybody. In the meantime, I'm just playing some audio. I have a new internet router and it's acting kind of wonky. I don't know what's up with it. Every page is taking forever to load. Okay, so it's my headphones. Hmm. See, this is gonna be a problem. If I can't get the sound to work, I'm not gonna be able to hear the audio I'm playing for you guys. You know what I mean? That's gonna be a problem. Gonna try something else. Hmm. Yeah. Oh, there we go. All right. We're in business. I hear the sound now. All right. We are good to go. Okay. Because we're going to have a lot of videos today. So if we don't have the sound working, it is not going to work. Yeah. No, no, I actually tried rebooting and that wasn't working either. But yeah, just I'm not even sure what did it. I did a couple of things. So I'm not sure what did it, but we are in business. So yes, good stuff. Yep. So let me just let the people know that we're here. And what I'm notifying people that we're here, check out down below. Those are all the ways to support us and give us a tip. You know, you can hit us in the super chat. There's a lot of things you can do. Actually, let me just get this out the way. It's only 4 minutes for the impatient people. I know when I don't get going right away, someone in the comments like, get to the point. You're taking forever. I know this is a tough attention span generation, but here we go. Like, comment, share, subscribe is free. It's a great way you can support us. If you don't have it like that right now and you can't uh, give us a tip, that's fine. Go to PayPal. You can contact us at champagnesharks@gmail.com. Venmo or Cash App, you can hit us up at Champagne Sharks. Become a subscriber, get a bunch of exclusive episodes and other perks at patreon.com/Champagne Sharks. And of course, hit the super chat if you're enjoying the stream. And with that being said, let us get down to business. We are talking about we are talking about the good old Black Lives Matter hustle and how they are basically falling apart, but also how the media is kind of dropping the ball. So we're kind of in this place where only right wing media is going to report about this stuff. And then what they're doing now is trying to shame people for listening to right wing media. So it's kind of like all by design. Make sure the liberal and left wing media doesn't cover this stuff at all. So that the only people who will cover it is right wing media. Then you get to say, "Oh, do you really want to be that person that falls for the right wing agenda?" So it's kind of like a way to almost protect themselves by making it so that the only source possible is the right wing media. So it's a little it's a little bit it's a little bit much, but it's typical. Whew. Okay. Well, right wing media, as in basically everyone is, because if you've talked about that story about Patrice Cullors and the four houses, then you've been at least indirectly listening to right wing media because they broke the story. Basically, every uh, fishy story that we haven't found ourselves, we found a lot of stuff, but basically every fishy story that's come out has been through right wing media, like New York Post and stuff, because they're the only ones who will kind of talk about this. They're talking about it for the wrong reasons, not because of any noble reasons or whatever. They would talk about anybody who was, uh, you know, pointing out the racism of America and stuff like that, but or criticizing cops. So let's make it clear we're not giving them credit for doing a good job for any good reasons. It's like the stop clock being right twice a day. So let's just all make that clear. These people are not any type of heroes in any sort of fashion, but sometimes they can be useful. They shouldn't have to be, but that's kind of what they're hoping for. They're hoping that, people will be like, New York Post, oh, hell no. Fox News, hell no, and just not look. But it's kind of not working. I think people just don't really care like that anymore, to be honest. A lot of black people now don't really buy into the liberal conservative thing anyway. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, like those vote taps, they'll definitely will never look at the other sources. But most black people on the ground now kind of realize both sides are bullshit. So it's like whatever. Anyway, let me let the people know we're here. People know. Oh, okay, we're good. So some of the things I didn't get to talk about last time, we're going to talk about today. I mean, last time was like a mammoth 4 hour one. That's my fault because been gone for a while, and that's kind of what happens, you know. So got my list. Ta-ta. But yeah, how's everyone doing? Are um, you guys stop wearing your mask yet? Man, liberals have gone full anti-masker once those vaccines came out. Like once those vaccines came out, those liberals went pure anti-vaxxer. Like they're starting to do articles shaming people for not anti-vax, anti-mask and everything. And I'm like, my thought on it is this: maybe you don't need to wear a mask anymore. maybe there is still a good reason. Maybe the reason is variance. Maybe you're afraid of spreading it to people. Maybe you just are traumatized. Maybe you just don't trust. Well, I don't understand about all these articles. Atlantic had one, New York Times had one about, going back to normal people who are, and they make weird reasons. Like they said stuff like, hey, if you don't wear a mask, then it's going to make people think that the vaccines don't work, and that's going to make less people take the vaccine. Shut up. That doesn't even make any sense. Like they're just saying that with no proof. Like I have not seen any studies or any type of proofs showing that seeing people with masks makes people say I might as well not take the vaccine. Like to me, if anything, seeing people with masks helps remind people that COVID is still out there and makes more people take the vaccine. Like one thing I hate is when somebody wants to do something, but they can't just be honest about why they want to do it. So they gotta make these fake excuses. And I'm like, okay, for whatever reason, first off, I think white people have a problem minding their business. I think this is just general white nosiness combined with the human feeling of I don't want to be the only person doing this in case I'm wrong. So I need people to do it with me. So to me, it's like, look, if you think you're ready to walk around everywhere without a mask, ride the subway without a mask, if you trust the vaccine that much, just don't wear the mask. Why do you care if other people don't? Like, don't make up these weird reasons um about unless everyone takes off their mask, people are gonna stop taking the vaccines. Like I just if someone doesn't want to take the vaccine or is an anti-vaxxer, people wearing the mask a couple extra like people taking off their masks is not gonna make them take like anybody who's on the fence about taking the vaccine or not or doesn't want to take the vaccine, that's not gonna stop him. So I always thought that was kind of I was yeah, no, no, let me ask you, you don't need a reason. See, like people by even giving the reason, you're validating that these people have a right to be in your business. The only reason you need is you want to wear it. Like who cares? Let me tell you something. For years, I used to work in Midtown Manhattan. A lot of tourists there. All year round, there would always be some Asian people with masks on. And this wasn't even when bird flu was happening. There was just all year round, there were some people with masks on. I have no idea why they had masks on, but those Asian tourists always had masks on. And not only did I not know why they had it on, I just don't care. Like, what does what they put on their face affect my life in any way possible? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, everything has to be a culture war. I get so stupid. And there was an article in like either the New York Times or Atlantic when it was talking about how you got to understand a lot of people are traumatized. We have to go easy on people who want to keep wearing masks because they're traumatized. And a lot of people were like, here, clap, clap, clap. Like a lot of like white liberals and white people were like, this really gives another side of the. I'm like, look, I'm not going to applaud that article because that article still buys into the premise that it's our business why somebody wants to keep a mask on. Like, I don't care if the person is not traumatized. I don't care if they just want to keep it on just because they're crazy and like it as a fashion accessory. I don't care. Like, stop normalizing like white nosiness. That's something that I feel like we should stop doing. Now people are saying we have to get things feeling back to normal. It's like it's not gonna be back to normal for a while anyway. Like you stop trying to force a feeling of normalcy, like whatever. Yeah, just don't wear a mask yourself. That's nobody's forcing you to wear a mask. Just don't wear it. That was all. That was all. I had to say. Yeah. So yeah, basically, yeah. People have been wearing masks For years, I've been seeing those Asian people wearing masks. Some people wear them just because they don't want to spread their cold, whatever. Like, just let people live their life. That article got me so mad. We have to go easy and let them wear their masks because we got to realize that the fact that you even need to make that excuse, like, just no, they don't have to be traumatized. You don't need. You're not doing them a favor by coming up with this excuse for them. Like, oh, that's so magnanimous of you that you deem me worthy of keeping my mask on because you've deemed that I'm traumatized enough. No, shut the fuck up. Like, the only reason I need to wear this mask is that I want to wear this mask, and I'm not even somebody who's even like gung ho about keeping the mask on. Like, I've been going out with it. Sometimes I put it on, sometimes I don't put it on. But no matter what, I just don't like the idea of like people feeling obligated to, you know, force like their social contract on you. I always think that's just a bunch of bullshit. And I just think it's just you imagine those people in the suburbs who will like micromanage how tall the grass is on your lawn. Like, it's just bothering the hell out of them. Always like filing complaints and doing community board meetings about the height of your fence and all that stuff. That's that type of instinct. That's what a lot of these gentrifiers do. They turn the city into suburbs. Like, they come into like cities and then they just come with that suburban nosiness, and it's just really annoying. Anywho, hey Isaac, hey, how's it going? Um, so check this out. Michael Brown's father, stupid ads. Daily Mail is like the worst when it comes to ads. Like, that thing is worse than Gossip and Media Takeout. That thing is like a black blog when it comes to all the ads on Daily Mail. That thing is just the most congested, spammiest thing I've ever seen. When I put my ad blocker on to go to Daily Mail, it it instantly tells you how many ads it blocks, and it comes up with like 200 plus ads, like within 10 seconds. Look at this thing in the bottom right corner. This thing is the most unreadable. It's my own fault. I should stop using these links from Daily Mail. Look, there's another ad popping up. They can't even manage this thing. You might as well have viruses on your computer. Like, this thing is so loaded with ads and spyware. You might as well just load a virus into your own computer if you're gonna come on this site. But anyway, Michael Brown's father and other Ferguson activists demand 20 million from BLM after organization was revealed to have made 90 million in donations last year. And again, I think that's a conservative estimate. I've got a strong feeling. That's my personal feeling. I think it's a conservative estimate. Also, can someone do me a favor? Uh, if anyone would like to just keep a tab on what topics we talk about, which timestamp, and then just mention it in the comments, that would be great. And then I'll put them into the description because, uh, you know, I never want to re-listen to the video to do the timestamps, but it would be great if someone would volunteer to do that. It'd be greatly appreciated. Yeah, so they haven't received any of the newly reviewed money from Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation. That's less than a year. And he said he's only received $500 from BLM associated groups. Michael Brown Jr. was killed by, yeah, we all know when Michael Brown Jr. was killed. Now, the reason I wanted to bring this up, who are they giving the money to? What are they doing with it? And Brown Jr.'s death at the hands of a police officer helped kick off the BLM movement. And a lot of people were thinking, oh, that's a bit much. Former guest of the podcast, Tori Russell, who's coming back, uh, is involved in this, and he's working with Michael Brown Jr. Some people were saying, "Oh, 20 million seems like a lot," but these people made a lot of money off of this, and not just what they got donated to them, but the ability to buy those houses, all the extra things that they've gotten money off of, the book deals, the TV deals, the endorsements, the this, the that, all that comes from this. Like, that they built a whole industrial complex, like a whole entertainment complex academic jobs. They've built a whole money making machine off of this, and it's off of the death of his son. You know, it's you can't even think of it as 20 million out of 90 million. You got to think of everything they've made up until then, and some figures have it in the billion, which is the Economist estimates it as from the time they began, possibly as high as over a billion. You know, so yeah, it's a funny that's some funny business there. But I want to show some of the like I'm getting kind of discouraged as far as this whole idea of pro blackness in general, the whole idea because I mean, people are so far gone. Like the neoliberal gotta get the bag, no such thing as selling out mindset is really deep. And I was talking to some friends about this, and I was like, there's a part of me that just feels like maybe it's better to just do stuff like, the movie reviews and pop culture stuff. Like, we had fun doing the White Cannon and, just do comedic stuff because I just don't think like there's times where I'm just like, I just don't know if there's any saving black people, man. To be honest, I'm gonna be cynical about it. But then something griftery happens that's so crazy. Like I kind of have to talk about it. But yeah, in general, it's just and this is the example I'm gonna give. I saw a lot of stuff like this. And Twitter makes it bad. And maybe the problem is Twitter attracts a certain type of person. So it's not a fair assessment of where the culture stands. But I mean, the younger you get, the more of a social media type of person is the majority of that generation. So it's one thing to say, oh, that's just social media people, but Gen Z and younger, man, that's social media people are going to be normal people. Like these are people who have grown up on nothing but that, So yeah, it might be true for elder millennials, Gen X and older and stuff that social media doesn't represent the norm, but increasingly with younger people, that's going to be the case. So, yeah, I just get tired sometimes. I hate saying I don't want to be one of those I'm so tired. I'm not singing like a Negro spiritual like those people always do. But I mean, yeah, people say it's not representative, but it's gradually becoming representative generationally, you know? Like it's like he says to be fair, it has like 150 million, but notice I didn't say this Twitter, I said social media total. So I'm including Facebook and all that stuff. But also I think it's a trick to look at the whole thing. 'Cause when you look at the whole thing, you gotta include boomers, the whole population of the earth. You gotta figure boomers, you gotta figure the whole global population that doesn't even have access to the internet, you have to include Gen Xers and elder millennials. I'm want to know out of that 150 million active users, how many of them are Gen Z or younger millennials and younger, and isolated to like the so-called developed world and certain generations. And I think it's going to be a much higher proportion of people than people think. So who knows? I think it's the entirety of the culture, but the problem is the entirety of the culture. White people can afford to be messed up out here because they're white. They got things. This culture is like built for them. They're going to have to be confused and messed up for a while before it really starts fucking them up as a whole. But we don't have the luxury if of that. That's the problem to me. So I'm not saying it's unique to the white people, but I do think um they have a hell of a head start. They have a hell of a lead. So I mean, who knows? I don't know. But yeah, I think the social media problem. Like, let me make this clear. Black people are the canary in the coal mine. Everything that happens to us first, it eventually happens to everyone else. We're just the guinea pigs and we're the least protected. So everything that we've been judged for has become gradually a problem. in the mainstream community. And each time it happens, they're always like, "How did this happen?" It's like because you didn't care about it when it was just happening to black people, because you think black people are uniquely deficient and pathological. You just figured, you know, it's like the Godfathers. They're animals anyway. Let them eat themselves. So yeah, um, yeah, I would agree with this. I think professional managerial class probably dominates for sure. Professional managerial class, and probably, I mean, I do think black people use it disproportionately compared to other people. Like, I think for our share of the population, I think black people use it more. Something else I notice is, I'm not sure why, but queer people seem to really use, like, I think black queer people probably are the most disproportionately overrepresented people on the internet. And I'm not exactly sure why that is, but it's just something I noticed. I think black people, they use this disproportionately. Young people use it disproportionately, and I'm not sure if white queer people use it disproportionately too. But I definitely noticed black queer people definitely do. Yeah, the response to the crack epidemic, to the opioid epidemic, um, divorces, single mothers, all that stuff. Like, single mothers are like a rising problem in the white community, and people act like, "Oh my god, what's going on?" Men falling behind women. That's an example of something that people were like, "Oh, just because black men are lazy and pathological," but that's happening with, people choosing not to marry. There's been like a lot of stories. Atlantic Magazine had the end of men and all this stuff. It's Oh wait, which link? I don't know what link you're talking about. All the questions you're asking. If there's a link that has all this, I would definitely like to see it. So if you put it into the chat, I probably missed it. But yeah, definitely share it. Yeah, put it in, if there's a link, put in the comments, like the actual comments, not the chat. That way people watching the video after can also look at this. You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, I think nosiness is like a form of authoritarianism. I think it's a symptom of it. Yeah, so I think it's not mutually exclusive. It's like, you can say both are in. Oh, yeah, this I totally believe. This I totally believe for sure. Anyway, this is what I'm talking about that got me discouraged, right? Uh a friend of the show, Jamel the creator, put this up and he was like, "What?" And this is what somebody put in defense of Patrice Cullors. They put Somebody put, "Genuinely feel so much anger on her behalf for this. I don't know if you people have seen property values in California, but this buys you a two-bedroom around here. Three if you are lucky. Compound my ass." So someone was basically trying to say, "Oh, I feel so bad for her. How dare you get on her for buying a $1.4 million house? That's not really a compound. That's, you know, nothing." And then somebody quote tweeted that person to shovel even more manure on the whole thing, right? And they said, "This is great. It shows you can make a decent life as an activist. Will make more people want to start nonprofits." So basically, more people want to start nonprofits because this will encourage them to. They'll realize they can buy $1 million compounds off of it. And again, why is that a good thing? This person didn't mention anything about it's gonna get more good done for the people. Like, what's the point of starting a nonprofit if the nonprofit doesn't do anything to help people? First off, it's not a nonprofit. It's a Black Lives Matter is a for-profit corporation. But regardless, there was a lot of tweets and things like that, like just the fact that you start a nonprofit doesn't automatically make it good unless you get like results. And I've said this before. This is one place where I differ from people. I think there's nothing wrong with an activist or whatever becoming rich. Like if you can get f- rich enough to buy 4 houses as an activist, I think there's, in theory, nothing wrong with that. But the amount of good you have to accomplish, like to get $4 million of houses, you better have done like $400 million worth of goods getting in the hands of poor black people. I mean, you've done so much good for black people, or whoever you're advocating for. That $4 million is like a fraction of what you got. But the problem is, no one who's really doing anything good for black people is going to be allowed to get that much done, and B, to keep that much money. It's just not going to happen. You know, uh, so more times than not, a activist who's really about helping people is not going to uh, be able to enrich themselves that much, just because people are going to be trying to shut them down left and right. They're going to have to claw and scrape for every gain that they get black people. You know, yeah. So it's like, in theory, I don't think that there should be a hard line rule about if people should be able to get rich from nonprofits or activism, whatever. To me, it just comes down to, it's almost like sales and commissions. Like, if somebody has made $1 million in commissions, and they've probably sold like tens or hundreds of millions of whatever it is, like they're selling. Like, to me, the problem is, um she's making that type of money off of something that, as far as I know, has gotten no real tangible results. You know what I mean? Hey, Kamari, how's it going? Hey, Isaac K. Yeah. Oh, this is an interesting point. In a way, they are being paid for the good they do. The problem is, on whose behalf is the work being done? It seems defanging the protests and trapping and suffocating that energy. Yeah, so basically that's what they're getting paid for. They're getting paid for helping white people, because they are controlled opposition. Controlled opposition is an opposition the um that is controlled by the people that they're supposed to be opposing. Like, I've chosen the person who is opposing me, and I control them. So yeah, I mean, they're controlled opposition, as far as like white supremacy controls them, and that's where they get their check. And in that case, what they're making is worthwhile, in terms of, they've probably made or saved white supremacy hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars, and you know all the struggles that they've diffused and co-opted and de-energized. You know what I mean? Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of my thing. Like, so back to that woman who tweeted that thing about, hey, should make more people want to join, and whatever. And it's like, we shouldn't even be having that conversation. We should be talking about, what did they do to deserve getting that $4 million. Like, what are your results? Like, on both sides, the people who say, oh, people deserve to get rich from their nonprofits, and people who say no activist should ever get rich. I think both of those are wrong, because both of them ignore results. I feel like you should eat what you kill. You should only make as much as you can in proportion to the tangible, quantifiable good that you have done. And that's something that's really getting lost in this conversation. Yeah. So, oh, someone sent me a link to my Twitter DM. I'm wondering if that's the link that we're talking about, with the who's on social media. I'll take a look at it and I'll bring it up in another stream. Yeah, so yeah, Engels had a rich family from what I hear. I don't know what how rich his family is. I don't know enough about Marxism to judge or whatever, but I mean yeah, as long as you're doing first of all, as long as you're honest about it. Like I hate when people are rich but they cosplay as working class socialists, you know? And yeah, but as long as you're honest about it and as long as you acknowledge your blind sides and also you should be using like your wealth to help people get hip to what rich people are doing. Like, if you're on some trader to your class stuff and you're honest about what your class is, you know, that's fine. And you're doing the most that you can do. And if your money allows you to do more, you're doing more. My problem is that people who have money, but then they try to cosplay as poor. And there are a lot of people who are like that. You know what I mean? Who just cosplaying as as broke, and that's their way of trying to show solidarity, like hiding who they are. I always think that's extremely tacky, extremely tacky. Yeah, so this is another example. Kendrick Sampson, because this is the thing. Now all these people's friends and they're calling in all the favors from the the activist ACTOR vist community and the pundits and everything. We're gonna go through a lot of these, but here is Kendrick Sampson, right? And he's like one of my favorite people in life. One of the most forgiving, kind, and hardworking people I know. If you've heard her name, most know her as a freedom fighter, and that's what she is. She's also an artist and lover of art. She's also a dope storyteller, best-selling author, and a professor. She has co-founded and helped build different organizations that have changed the landscape of LA and this country and is an exemplary coalition builder. This is why white supremacy finds her to be such a threat. They find her to be such a threat that they've allowed her to get this rich. Okay. Trust me, if they find you to be a threat, you are not making bank like that. And if you are making that bank, you're making it just off the back of black people. Like every now and then, somebody finds a way to just, you know, get some real grassroots type of pipeline or something. But even those people tend to not be a threat. Like, for example, like a lot of black preachers and stuff like that, they're able to get rich just off of the money of black people or people like Tyler Perry. But even those people, they're still not a threat to white supremacy. Anyway, I've met and become close with many of the people she has mentored and helped. Republicans see her as a threat because they see her entering the electoral sphere as far as trying to be like a playmaker in electoral politics. But even that's silly because she and her people have shown they can't even get Democrats. They don't really have any electoral power. If so, Elizabeth Warren would be uh, the Democratic nominee for 2020. Instead, she came in like something like third with black people in South Carolina with all these people in the corner. Yeah, but anyway, I've met and become close with many of the people she has mentored and helped. She's also a black queer woman. What does that have to do with anything? Who cares for her child, her mom, and her brother who deals with a severe mental health disorder and dedicates her life to liberation and black people. What has she done for liberation and black people? Like that's the thing. Like no one wants to talk about results. They just want to talk about personality, you know, and also like a sob story. To his credit, he didn't bring up the death threats. Maybe they didn't coach him because one thing these people always do is bring up the death threats. They love saying, "Yeah, I agree with this." That's why I said, in theory, I'm not against I'm not against people getting rich off of activism if they're getting that much stuff done. But like I said, in practice, I don't think white supremacy is going to let you um, make that much money, and people have a right to be skeptical about why white supremacy lets you get that much money. You know, and it's on you to prove that you've been able to get that insane amount of results that justifies you getting that money. So yeah, I agree with you, YSLM. I'm in total agreement with you. That's why I made sure to say in in theory, you know. Uh oh yeah, more like fourth. I might have been too gracious. But yeah, these people don't even have the electoral power. I think more of the Republicans just don't like seeing anyone saying racism is real. Like they're kind of clownish themselves. Um, there is a coordinated right wing funded effort to attack Black freedom fighters right now, and again, it's only right wing because the left wing just does refuses to talk about it. You know, it's not because the right wing is making it up. Notice like so it's like turning us against each other, dehumanizing us, capital letters, lying. But they never say what they're lying about. And you're going to see that's a constant theme. They could never explain what the people are lying about. And if you saw the last installment, I was showing all those defenses that she gave and brought up death threats and her family and that she's queer and that the black media should support her and all this stuff, everything but what the lie that the people said was, you know? So Patrice currently the target. That's not a conspiracy theory, it's a proven fact. There is an effort to silence us by any means. They take kernels of truth and mix a bunch of conspiracy theories and blatant lies and then post their address on the internet. That's not true. The address wasn't posted. Death threats. Oh, I was wrong. He was coach. He brought up the death threats. I didn't actually scroll down, so I didn't see. So yeah, death threats are coming directly to her house with her child, whom I love dearly, and her family. Like it's fine if you want to defend her, but you're not really saying anything. And again, the whole death threat thing. I mean, if she's that afraid of, she's that much of a threat to white supremacy, why is she living in these rich parts that have like 0.1% black people? That's like the stronghold, like rich white people like that. I mean, those are the movers and shakers. Those are the people who control everything. Like, if you're that scared, like, that would seem to be like the worst place to be. Like, I don't know. I mean, maybe like some kind of redneck clan country, is definitely worse. But these are people who have like, I don't know, black people and allies. If you want to find out if rumors are true among us, there are ways of doing that without participating and putting our people's lives at risk. Okay, but how do you find out if the rumors are true? Like I want you to peep what he said here. Black people and allies. If you want to find out if rumors are true among us, there are ways of doing that without participating and putting our people's lives at risk. We must protect each other. If we don't, who will? Now, how? How do we check these rumors? We wouldn't even have known these rumors if not for the New York Post and these other things. You guys aren't forthcoming or transparent about anything. Her own local chapters, at least a quarter of them, are in open revolt because they found out about this $90 million with everybody else. They had to badger and berate them to even release that much. Like, anyway, oh, and this is great. Journey Smollett is the first response. Say it louder for the people in the back. Yeah, you got your own problems. Like, do you really want to be weighing in on something that has to do with scandal and dishonesty over race activism? Like, that's all I'm saying. Queen Latifah, you know what? She's older. She's out of touch. I'm not saying that to insult her, but like I get her age doing it because I think a lot of these people really take. I think a lot of these people really kind of take the younger generation for granted because they're not plugged in. They're not plugged in like that. You know. Um. Step one, donate money. Step two, be quiet. Smizing. Yeah, yeah, he's on Insecure. He also like he also went somewhere for Teen Vogue and talked about how black men have like pimp culture or something. It was something. Let me see if I can find it. I wasn't planning on showing this, but let me find it. Um, just to give an idea of like, I mean, when he did this, I was like, really? It was all I needed to see. I was like, come on, dude. But he's one of those guys that's really trying to work that what's the best way to call it? That black excellence, white ally industrial complex. He's trying to get plugged into that, be one of these kind of entertainers slash activists type of things. Let me see if I could find the exact thing that he did. But he was talking about how homophobic and he was talking about how homophobic and misogynistic and abusive like black culture is and black men. It was a mess. I'm trying to find it now. I just remember this. That's why I don't have it handy. But let me find this real quick, just so you can see. Also, people feel free feel free to share this with people. Let people know that we're out here. Maybe it wasn't Teen Vogue. Hold on. Mm, I can't find it. There's too much stuff. But yeah, he's always talk. I'm sure he's a nice dude. But I mean, my only problem is I just feel like he's made his choice. He's part of that program. He's part of that um moment where it's going to be all about trying to ingratiate himself to the whole woke complex. So yeah, you know what? I'll find it some other time, and if I find it, then I'll. Somebody told me he was also on. Someone told me he was also on How to Get Away with Murder, but I've never seen that. I try not to watch Shonda Rhimes. Let's see. Yeah, I can't find it. Anyway, here's the real unhinged lady that started defending her. Hey, Dee Dee, how's it going? Yeah, he's a new Jesse Williams. He's a new Jesse Williams. Yeah, I've never seen Kendrick until the process this May. Then he was yeah, he's hit that thing really hard. He's been all over. He's been all over this thing. Yeah, but check this out. This lady is some kind of entertainment person, Sonia Renee Taylor, and y'all got to see this. This is something else. Let me know if you can hear it. I have it paused right now. Let me put the sound on. And let me tell y'all who she is because I forgot. I knew who she was. Oh, she's an author. Here is her bio from her website. Just to contextualize this, give you an idea of what to expect from her. Let me take this off the screen for a second and put this on. And this is gonna be good. I promise you. This one. So, uh, this is a website. She has a book, second edition. Your body is not an apology. So as you can see, she's one of those like body positivity, radical self love people. Um, Sonia Renee Taylor is a founder and radical executive officer, not chief executive officer, but listen to the woke capitalism, that kind of merging of the boardroom and the wokeness. Radical executive officer of The Body Is Not an Apology, a digital media and education company promoting radical self-love and body empowerment as the foundational tool for social justice and global transformation. Sonia's work as a highly sought after award winning performance poet, activist, and transformational leader continues to have a global reach. National and international poetry slam champion, author of two books, including The Body's Not an Apology, The Power of Radical Self-Love, educator and thought leader who has enlightened and inspired organizations, audiences, and individuals from boardrooms to prisons, universities to homeless shelters, elementary schools to some of the biggest stages in the world. And she just goes on with her whole resume here. Her work has been seen, heard, and read on HBO, BET, MTV, TV One, NPR, PBS, CNN, and so forth. It goes on pretty. She continues to use her work to disrupt systems. That's such a venture capitalist like Silicon Valley talk, like talking about disrupt systems of inequity from an intersectional, radical self love and global justice framework. She currently serves on the board of directors for Split This Rock, an organization calling poets to a greater role in public life, and board of directors of Sister Song, and founded The Body's Not an Apology, an online community. So basically, she reads poems and does body positivity stuff to get people to accept, you know, being bigger, which is fine. You know, I'm, I'm with that, but I mean, she just puts a lot of extras on it as far as disrupting systems of power and all the stuff that she's doing. I think she's putting a lot of extras on it. But I mean, someone said it's like wordy ways of saying posting on Twitter. Yeah, I mean, she puts a lot of. Someone said, "I already know what's about to come out of her mouth." Oh, let's see if you do. Let's see if you do, Dee Dee. Maybe you do. Maybe you do.
Clear.
I didn't see it coming, but maybe you did. Dee Dee said, "I already know what's about to come out her mouth." Uh, Dee Dee, tell me what's about to come out her mouth. I want to see if you're right. Say what's about to come out her mouth, and then I'll play it. Because it's not hard to guess what's coming out of her mouth. You might actually guess it. So I want to give you a chance. I mean, a lot of things come out of her mouth in the clips I'm about to show. So you can at least probably get at least one of them. But to give a hint, it has to do with Patrice Cull's excuses and you know her being trained Marxist and an activist, and why does she have four houses? She's those things, and where did the money go and all that. So you know what? I'll let Dee Dee type, and she's gonna go on for a while. So I'm just gonna play it. Tell me if you can hear it.
Before some news channel try to run some shit about me. This is, there've been, I have a What's Up Y'all coming out about the, really intentional right-wing attacks on Patrice Colors Brignac, one of the co-founders of BLM. And then I just saw a post about an article about Stacey Abrams buying $1 million home. When I tell you, and it's not any different, I want y'all to go back and remember when I posted about my car.
And she's gonna act like being extra passionate is going to help make the case any better. So get ready for a lot of extra passion on this. She's gonna put a lot of stank on it. So get ready for that. And this is like 10 minutes. It's like really long. I don't know if I'm gonna play the whole thing, but you'll get the point pretty early.
And then I had some whole ass white people in my thread shaming me for buying a nice car, right? Or the situation last week where I posted about my tax bill and then had a whole ass white man in my thread, discussing the implications of my financial existence. When I tell you that the expectation is that Black women murder themselves and die fucking poor, when I tell you that the expectation for Black women is that we will labor on your behalf and then remain impoverished and die without a fucking headstone like Zora Neale Hurston, and that's the fucking expectation in the United States. That's the fucking expectation from white supremacist delusion, and it's fucking disgusting. It's disgusting. It is how dare you? How dare you question the finances of fucking Black women when you got a fucking Elon Musk?
First things first, you're comparing Patrice Cullors to Zora Neale Hurston? At least back that up, justify it. What makes them the same? Anyway.
When a goddamn Jeff Bezos exists.
Why are Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos the standard by which we hold Black activists?
When a fucking can't even think of the dude's name that runs Microsoft, Bill Gates. When a Warren Buffett exists. When you literally have white men who have done nothing but hoard wealth since the beginning of the time. White men who have enough money to solve every single social ill in our society.
Now, Kamaria said Zora Neale Hurston died poor. Yeah, that's her point. She's saying that you want Patrice Cullors to die poor like Zora Neale Hurston. Like, those are the only two options. Either die poor like Zora Neale Hurston or have like $1 million compounds. And there's no in the middle. But also the idea that Patrice Cullors has contributed anything to Black people on par with what Zora Neale Hurston has done is also insane. Like, they're even comparing her in that regard.
Society and still have money left over for generations. And y'all are in the fucking bank accounts of Black women working in liberation work? Are you fucking kidding me?
Oh, this is interesting. I didn't know this part in the comments. Yeah, I did not notice Ra. I know her work. I've always been a fan of Zora Neale Hurston's work, but I did not know that about her private life. So, yeah, if anybody wants to Google and look that up and do more research, I know I'm going to. Anyway, going on.
Are you kidding me? So here's your assignment.
They always have homework for us.
Certainly white folks, but anybody who has the nerve to have some sort of suspicion, light bulb go off when you see fucking Black women doing well. You fucking show up in my DMs. You reshare that fucking shitty ass article from that toilet paper ass magazine run by Rupert Murdoch about Patrice, or the shit ass article about Stacey Abrams. You share that shit after you show me a year's worth of fucking being in the DMs and writing Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, Warren.
These people think everything begins and ends with social media. Like, show me the work. Show me you being in the DMs of, like that's the work you've got to show. Like the whole premise is ridiculous, but the fact that she even thought of that as what you have to do.
Warren Buffett and every other fucking rich ass white CEO in the United States. If you get done handling white people hoarding wealth, you'll be dead before you get to us at the bottom of the fucking list. This shit is disgusting. And it's disgusting to watch people of color repost this shit. That shit is extra disgusting.
Yeah, I mean, this comment here, no one's denying. That's a funny thing. Like, someone compared her to a cheating spouse that got caught, but even the Shaggy song, he said it wasn't me. like they didn't even bother to even try to lie. Like, there was no it wasn't me. It's like a cheating spouse, but a cheating spouse that's like, don't listen to that, um you know I'm gonna this reminds me of a scene from it reminds me of a scene from an old movie, but I'm gonna put it up later. Let's go back to Hidden Play.
And it's misogyny. Black women and femmes not supposed to have shit. We supposed to work ourselves to death and die in an unmarked grave like Zora Neale Hurston. And let me tell you right now, be clear.
The only options are get multi-million-dollar compounds or real estate portfolios, or die in an unmarked grave. Nothing in the middle.
And be unconfused about this shit. You kiss my whole ass before that shit happens. The whole entire ass. I'll be damned. I will be damned if you work me to death and then kill me and throw my body in a fucking field. I'll be damned if I don't live as best as...
Okay, so are people in the comments agreeing with her? That's a good question. I don't see comments. Hold on. Oh, well, there's blue check. One thing with Instagram that makes Instagram extra annoying, they prioritize blue checks. So when you read anything, the celebrities come first. So I'm seeing blue checks. I haven't even looked yet, and I know it's gonna be some bullshit. So the blue checks are probably gonna be agreeing with a lot of yassing and emojis. Like Yaba Blay, she's one of these types. She's one of these activists. She put those like say it louder emojis. This person here, blue check, louder for the people in the back. Oh my god. Ichiyoma Oluwo, there's stories about. Don't even get me started on her, but she's part of this whole industrial complex. She goes, yeah, this blue check. I felt this from my big toe to my neck and all the way back down again. Yes, ma'am. And people clapping. Sonia Renee Taylor, like these people is in there. Ebony Janice is like giving the little emoji smirk, and she goes, "Let me see who this person is." I don't know. She has some kind of blue check. Yeah. So basically, that's as far down as it lets me go.
As I can right the fuck now. I'll be damned if I don't wake up and look at something fucking beautiful.
And I don't know why she's cursing so much. She's gonna end up getting this video demonetized with all this swearing. Oh, she's done a lot of like Black Men Are Trash books. I mean, Black Men Are Trash articles too. Yeah, they love acting like the leaders of Black women, as if like Black women aren't making these. Yeah, and you know what? The rest of this 10 minutes is gonna be the same. I'm gonna play another video by her. And now this is something. This video is even kind of crazier, but I'm impressed with the attempts that this woman tried to do in this one. This is interesting. And do you know a lot of leftists were complaining about leftists were talking about the CIA woke video as if it's proof that wokeness or that identity politics is a joke because of this video. And I was saying to them, right now, identity politics is like popular. So that's what the CIA is co-opting. But anything can be co-opted. If leftism got popular enough, they would find ways to co-opt leftism. So it's silly to act like the fact that somebody was co-opting something is proof that that thing is bullshit, right? And this is a perfect example. I'm going to show this right now. But before I show it, and again, she's in the bed again. I don't know why it's not worth her getting up for or sitting up for, but she's always in the bed for whatever reason. Hey, Stephanie. Hey, Stephanie B. That's funny. Oh my god, that was funny. This is a Wendy's. Uh, check this out. This one's even crazier. Look at what they do, because Patrice Cullors said she was a trained Marxist, right? So peep this.
What's up, y'all? I want to do a quick follow up to my video uh, about, Black women and wealth and the massage noir that tells people that Black women should just die poor. And I want to get some definitions together for people because we have conflated things that if we're not working from the same definitions, then we're going to be confused anyway. And so the first definition that we actually have to get into is the definition of capitalism. And capitalism is a system in which there are owners who own the means of production and exploit the labor of workers for profit. That's what capitalism is, right? And that is why people who run major corporations are capitalists because they own the means of production and they exploit the labor of the worker.
Okay, so far so good, right? Like, this is an excellent sophistry you're about to see. Like like this, the boldness of this is almost a warped kind of genius, right? So okay, so far so good. All right.
In order to gain their wealth. Here's the thing that I need people to get into. Like, having money unto itself doesn't make you a capitalist, right? The exploitation of workers and owning the means of production and exploiting labor is what makes you a capitalist.
All right. So you hear that? That's what makes you a capitalist. You have to own the means of production, which I don't think is true. I don't think you have to own the means of production to be um a capitalist. I think to be like a certain role in capitalism, you have to own the means of production. But to just be a part of capitalism, so basically, only the people who own the means of production are participating in capitalism. Like the workers, the managers, the people buying and selling, the salesmen, the everything. They're not participating in capitalism apparently. But she does use some like actual real terms from socialism to make this incredible reach she's about to do.
All right. And so inside of us, first of all, first of all, there are multitudes of ways by which to make money, and they do not require the exploitation of the labor of workers in order to do so. And that's the whole point about what does it mean to create a new economy. But part of this is, so many people can't see beyond whatever the fuck it is that they've, whatever it is that they.
Now, from what I understand, right, capitalism is made up of two classes: the bourgeoisie, or business owners, who control the means of production, and the proletariat, or workers, whose labor transforms raw commodities into valuable economic goods. So the business owner class under capitalism has to own the means of production, but that's not the same as saying they're the only people who count as capitalists in a capitalist society. So you see the kind of slick thing that she pulled there, but anyway, going on.
They've defined or whatever it is they understand as capitalism, and it can't imagine a different world. Again, so much of this shit is about the fact that people really lack any kind of liberatory imagination, and so consequently everything they see and experience and judge, they are judging from a paradigm that lives in the old world. And what people keep trying to tell you, what I'm trying to tell you, I can't speak for nobody else, what I'm trying to tell you is that's not the fucking world I'm fucking with. I'm fine. You kick it over there.
So basically, you don't know enough about liberatory politics if you don't understand how getting millions of dollars and buying a multi-million dollar real estate portfolio, if you're dumb enough to think that's participating in capitalism, then you don't understand liberatory politics, and you're stuck in the ways of the old world where they didn't make a lot of money and buy houses. Like that old oppressive capitalist world where people didn't rake a bunch of money and buy houses, versus this new liberatory world where people are being anti-capitalist by making enough money to buy uh, a four-house multi-million-dollar portfolio. Like, the thing makes no sense. This is like what you call woke washing. Your woke washing is when you kind of you launder thought and activity to make it come out the other side sounding woke, and you kind of clean it up with woke language and concepts.
If you want to, I'm over here making the shit that is new. I'm over here making the shit that is viable for humanity when all this other shit falls away. And so when I'm talking about the solidarity economy, when I'm talking about an economic framework born out of giving from our overflow and right relationship, what I am talking about has nothing to do with exploiting labor. It actually has to do with rebalancing resource. And if we rebalance
it has nothing to do with exploiting labor, it's just exploiting dead black men. That's all it has to do with. But they're not labor because they're all unemployed. They were unemployed before they died. So she wasn't exploiting labor, and they weren't alive. She's exploiting dead black men and their poor families, But the reallocating of resources, yeah, I'm reallocating resources from donors into my own pockets, then rebalancing them again into the real estate brokers commission, and rebalancing it again to the bank that I paid a mortgage to. I'm gonna back it up a little bit. This is some primo chef kiss Michelin star bullshit.
Relationship, what I am talking about has nothing to do with exploiting labor. It actually has to do with rebalancing resource. And if we rebalanced resource, everybody would have overflow. Everybody would have abundance.
So basically, let's try to sum everything up she said so far. If you get rid of this old bad political imagination where you can't understand liberatory politics and don't understand who owns the means of labor, you wouldn't understand that this is actually a rebalancing that's going to cause overflow, that's going to make everybody eat. How does her buying these houses and not disclosing where any of these donations are going, leading to all of us being able to eat? Like, she makes it sound so deep, it's almost easy to miss how damn offensive this is. You know what I mean? Like, it's ridiculous. So I'm backing up a little bit.
Flow. Everybody would have abundance.
Yeah, everybody would have abundance if you just let these people grift and don't ask them for transparency.
So when people,
this is like some pyramid scheme. This is like, you know what this is like? This is like some Creflo Dollar, like prosperity gospel stuff. So you just keep giving me money, and somehow you're gonna be rewarded with abundance. Like, she's actually using that abundance talk. That word especially is such that prosperity gospel language.
I'm like, if you're an artist, and so here's another piece of this that I think we often miss, right? Is that the whole system of economics is so obscured, and capitalism has done such a phenomenal job of asking us to not understand how money happens, how money gets made, how money gets moved, it's this entire entity shrouded in secrecy, right? This is the reason why pay gaps exist. Pay gaps exist because capitalism and the boss told you never to ask the other person whose labor is being exploited how much money they make. That's why wage gaps exist. That's why people can get away with paying you 37 cents less than they pay your counterpart.
So when people try to point out to you that, hey, look, the CIA is doing identity politics, this shows that identity politics is a joke. Like, show them this video, because these people can do this for anything. If Patrisse Cullors said she was a trained Marxist, to try to get the leftists on her side, and now because she said that and she's stuck with it, her and I have some pictures, some videos of her trying to spin like her definition of Marxism too. But in these people's, it's not the ideologies, it's the people. In these people's hands, any ideology becomes bullshit and self-serving,
right?
right?
Because of secrecy. And so then it also skews our understanding of things, right? It skews what it is that we can make sense of in terms of the economic world, right? And so I think it's important to understand. So,
and one thing, these people always talk to people like they're stupid and they're the smartest person in the room. Like what she's saying is pure gibberish, but she's got the double audacity to make no sense and be, self-serving and talk down to you with her nonsense, as if she talks confidently enough with her condescension that that's why a lot of these people are followed by like weak people, because like weak-minded people kind of get bluffed like that. You know what I mean? Yeah, no, no. Trotsky made sense though. Like say what you will about Trotsky, but at least he was coherent. This is not anything to do with Trotsky outside of the fact that they're both saying means of production. Um, yeah, she's totally confusing. She's totally confusing herself. But and all that cursing, this thing's gonna be demonetized thanks to her potty mouth. I don't know why these people have such a big potty mouth. Like I think they kind of think it makes them look more authentic to curse all the time, and then I think they think it makes them look like more authentically black. But these people, they always curse like way too much. I notice. Uh, so I'm not gonna play. There's like 9 minutes left. I've never made it through the 9 minutes. I'm sure there's comedy gold in there, but I'm not gonna subject myself to it. So both videos make up about 25 minutes. So this is what she says. Here's a caption: Capitalism is awful. Having money is not. We need to learn the difference. Some clarifications from yesterday's video. Capitalism is an inherently exploitative system. Making money doesn't make you a capitalist, but it does if you have no other vision for how a resource can flow between humans. We can make new things. Keep in mind with all this, what does any of this have to do with four houses and where the donations went? Keep that in mind as I read. Uh, we can make new things. We can be liberatory with our financial resources, and it doesn't matter what we do with our money. It does. We are not given wealth to replicate the same fucked up dynamics of hoarding and selfishness that white supremacist delusion and debt capitalism have taught us. Okay, how is buying four houses and not giving any money to the families of the dead people not the same fucked up dynamics of hoarding and selfishness of capitalism? Okay, she doesn't say. We should have all the tools available to us, including economic abundance. But how we get it and what we do with it matters in creating an economy built on the right relationship. And this is why I called this video and the last one March, Pray, Love, because these people always talk in these airy fairy new age talk with no tangibles. Like if you ever heard me play Kwame Ture or play Elaine Brown, like they will talk about tangible steps, ways to organize, call out names, and Malcolm X will give you like real paradigms to which to analyze the world that are still relevant today. These people are like the book Eat, Pray, Love, and are like the Oprah Super Soul Sunday of activism. Like they just use words that don't mean anything. It's just word salad. Like, we gotta live in abundance and we have to reimagine and rebalance and create restorative systems that cause change, that reinvigorate and keep us in community and hold space for other people in the community so that we can all get together and then topple white supremacy and imagine new futures where everybody can have abundance and hold space. Like it's just gibberish. When y'all listen to it, it's just like talk yourself into a big circle of new age speak. And as usual, the same people, blue checks, thank you. These people are always constantly cheerleading and boosting each other for mediocrity. Like no matter what they say, they're always up in each other's comments. Great job, this is the most decolonized explanation of your whole post, and it blessed me so good. And you're a whole hilarious, and we stand a comedy bay. I want to continue to imagine this world with you. Let's do it. Thank you so much for this. I've been having such a hard time articulating this difference. Yeah, because it's not real. She just pulled it out of her ass. That's why you had trouble articulating it. You never thought of it because it's not real. Like, thank you for your offering. See, offering, prosperity gospel. See the language they're using. This new age. It's a religion. It's spirituality. Uh, Rachel Rogers Esquire. I don't know where any of these people are, but they all have blue checks. I love this. I agree with you 100%. Thank you for the like. These people never push back on each other for anything. I don't know. Are you able to delete negative comments in Instagram? Is that why these people never seem to have any negative comments, or is it just because they put the blue checks up on top? Oh, thanks for the donation, Didi. Much appreciated. Didi said, "Great show. Thank you." Yeah, a whole hilarious. I have no idea what that even means. These people are tangibles are only important when the time comes to them to get paid and to let their friends wet their beak. The rest of us dine on platitudes. The wet their beak thing, isn't that a great analogy for people who don't know about uh The Sopranos? Do you know what these people remind me of? But someone said that she looks like she was caught cheating. There's this video, there's this movie called The Guide for a Married Man. It has Walter Matthau, and this is Bert Cooper from Mad Men. But check this out. The sound is horrible, but it's funny.
But what if she really knows? Deny it. But what if she really? But what if deny? What?
What are you doing?
Where?
There, with her.
Who?
Her. How could you?
What?
That.
When?
When I came in, you and she would.
Who?
You know very well who. That woman there.
Where?
Charlie.
What?
You and that woman.
What woman?
The one who just left.
When?
This is what these people want to happen.
Charlie,
What?
aren't you even ashamed of yourself?
Why?
Because of.
That's what these people want to happen. That's how stupid they want you to be.
Charlie,
What?
what would you like for dinner?
Yeah, that's exactly the look they want us to have when they're done with us, you know. And they're mad. They're actually angry. We're not that stupid. that's that's from a movie called The Guide for the Married Man. Yeah, they want you to be stupid enough to be gaslighted by their that's exactly how they want you to be. It's they really think the world works that way, and then they lose it. So basically it's like 4 houses. What 4 houses? Where? Huh? What do you mean? Donations? Donate to who? You know, and keep that clip in mind, because a lot of these clips are going to show are really them trying to do that. Like I felt like when she was on Mark Lamont Hill and Jamel Hill, like they were really, it was two of them together trying to you know, make people buy into it. It was really funny. Uh what else? What else? What else? If you're enjoying what we do, feel free to donate. Hit us up at PayPal, champagnesharks@gmail.com, Venmo or Cash App at Champagne Sharks, or hit the super chat. Um, this is another great one. This was an Instagram comment that I saw. Oh yeah, comedies were really like once you think like The Office and that dry stuff with that guy Jim. Every 5 seconds, that guy Jim looks at the camera. like with the Justin Bieber hair. Like that's not comedy. It's so lame. That really dry. Like comedies were way better back then. Like now they just mug at the camera and just be really dry. Like everything wants to be Arrested Development now, which is fine, but I don't want everything to be Arrested Development. Yeah. No comedy, but comedies were free to be more politically incorrect. That scene you couldn't have in a comedy now. Like, oh my god, can you imagine how many think pieces there would be if you had a comedy with that scene in it? Yeah, yeah. Comedy is just Jim doing the white people smile at the camera. It's exactly what you know comedy is now. It's like it's so dry. Uh, so somebody put this on Instagram, and that shit was a fraudulent smear campaign. Little do people know who believe that headline that she's actually paving the way for us by buying property in an upscale neighborhood where the black population is less than 2%. She's walking so we can run. And then heart thing. And what I was thinking is this could be sarcasm. This really could be sarcasm, but the fact that a lot of us couldn't tell, like a lot of us trying to look and find the woman's other post, and people were agreeing with her, and it's like, even with the sarcasm, the fact that we've gotten to the point where you have to ask, it's is bad. Like it could be sarcasm, but I'm saying like I feel like back in the day you would have known, and we've seen enough nowadays that it's hard to say. It could not be sarcasm. Um this is another one. Oh, this is Fabiana. Fabiana is part of something called Artists in Action. I have no idea who this person is, if she's nice or whatever. I'm not trying to bash this person. I don't know this person. This person could be a totally sweet person, but I do think that too many people are making excuses for this stuff. So, you know, I don't know much about her, but it says, "This is my friend, artist, and organizer, Patrice Cullors, who I love, trust, and respect as a human being. In the last few days, the white supremacist right has been attacking, discrediting, and doxing our love sister, Patrice. I have known Patrice for nearly a decade and have directly experienced her artistic brilliance and friendship. I celebrate her and her work. She is best known for co founding BLM, and she does so much more. She's an award winning New York Times bestselling author and last year secured a major deal with Warner Brothers after being a writer for TV, plus starting a documentary series. She's a professor at graduate level classes, a performance artist, and a visionary who co founded an artist space, Crenshaw Dairy Mart. All of this while she was working to pass Measure R. I'm happy for Patrice's ability to secure financial success from her creative work, but the creative work is secured because of Black Lives Matter. I'm not going to go through it all again because we discussed all of it in the last installment of this. In the last installment, we've made clear, and in her own words, how all of this financial success is secured through her work with Black Lives Matter, and it's still part of the windfall that she gets from her activism, and also her activism has not really created or contributed anything tangible to people in return for any of this. So you can't say it's payment for a job well done. But on top of that, I'm very skeptical, and I gave the reasons why in the last article, in the last installment of this, of why I don't think it's even likely that her creative work really paid for all this. Like, the kind of advances that she got and the sales she likely got, and how she doesn't even have anything in actual production yet. Like, yeah, I'm very skeptical that it's just off of these contracts or whatever. I think it's off of her actual activism work, and we're gonna go into that. But this goes into, and I think they coach these people because they all use the same talking points, and you're gonna see, um, it talks about people don't want black women to be rich. I'm happy for all black women who are able to gain wealth for their family and communities. It talks about the family, talks about her brother's sickness, and it talks about the right wing painting a false picture but not explaining why. Why are her financial decisions subject to public scrutiny? That's what a nonprofit is. Like, what does this question even mean? Why are financial decisions subject to? Do we hold that to men who build wealth from the ground up? So the same thing about Elon Musk and all that stuff, and saying it's about gender. Like, hey, we don't do this to men. We don't do this to white people. Do leaders have to, and artists have to live in suffering conditions their whole life in order to lead us? Black queer women like Patrice deserve rest, relaxation, and yes, prosperity. No one says she shouldn't deserve prosperity, but she deserves prosperity in exchange for doing something. Like, like that's like somebody um stealing from your house, and then when you say, hey, did you steal from me? Are you saying I don't deserve prosperity? It's like, no, you deserve to work for it, but you don't deserve to like lie. And again, the usual blue checks. Yes to this. Hearts. Heart. 5 hearts. Hearts. Can I repost? That ish. Much love to Patrice. Yeah, these people, I don't know. They seem so childish, but they would need to constantly affirm each other 24/7. It's so weird. Yeah, they're just reading her resume. Yeah, no, I really think they did. I really think she gave all her friends the same. Like, I totally think that. I think they really gave, because you're gonna keep seeing all these people have the same defense, and a lot of people were on Dr. Curry's ass, Dr. Tommy Curry, but he was right about a lot of stuff, and um I want to play a clip of Tommy Curry that I think was really great from 2015. He got ran out of this country, and these people hate him. But one of the reasons why I think they hate him is because he had their number. And this was from an old speech of his I thought was really good.
And we don't understand how some of these bourgeois discourses, be it black liberalism, the black progressives who are set on education, or even black feminists who have a class bias that rivals that of white middle class people, are using the deaths of black men to propagate their own theories, we're missing the picture. This is not simply an idea where we can say one group, one black face has the same agenda as the rest of black people. There are class distinctions. There are political distinctions. And that means that people will use different things that happen to black people, specifically these young black men, to propagate or to benefit their own cause. This is exactly what Elaine Brown was trying to tell us in the condemnation of Little B. That we cannot simply trust that all Black Lives Matter is a solidifying force that supersedes class and political designations amongst black people. We have to start looking at, especially in the 21st century, of what's the population of black people we're talking about. We can't simply trust these agendas and interests. We can't have a kumbaya moment simply because we're still in the Obama era. We have to ask ourselves, does this black person internalize the same fear of black men? Do these black men who consider themselves middle and upper class believe that these lower class black men are in fact criminal? Do these black feminists fundamentally internalize the idea that these young black men are criminals and rapists? And if they do that, if they do internalize these white supremacist narratives and notions of black masculinity that deny black male vulnerability,
2015.
then we have to address that, because that is not a progressive voice. That is a very real conservative and anti-black voice in blackface under these black movements. And that's the question. That's why we haven't had any real analysis on MSNBC. That's why we haven't had any real analysis on CNN, because people are not willing to indict the cultural and political aspects of how black people are acting regarding these issues. It's not simply that every black person is outraged. It's not simply the case that every black person wants to take up arms to fight for these young black people's lives. In a very real sense, some black people are simply satisfied with the idea that it wasn't them. They're simply satisfied that their degrees and their class status make sure that Michael Brown will not be them and will not be their children. And this is what avoids.
Yeah, pretty good. It's a pretty good speech. Actually, there's 2 more minutes that I think are good. Let me just throw them on there too. After making you listen to that crazy Sonia lady, I should give you guys a palate cleanser. Let me put one more clip But yeah, that's Dr. Tommy Curry. And for all these people talk about white supremacy being after them, he didn't get a multi-million dollar real estate portfolio. He got driven out of this country. They basically ran him out of this country. He's in Scotland now. And not only them, but those black queer misogynoir type black feminist types, they ran him out too. They hate him as much as the white supremacists do. That's what I think is very telling. They totally hate him, and they were cheering and celebrating when he got driven out of this country. And someone said he was saying this only a year after Ferguson, but a lot of us were, but people like us were just never listened
And
to.
I think I was ultimately correct. But what we have not yet learned to do is to attack the types of interests and sentiments that black people internalize on the basis of white people. See, white privilege doesn't simply operate in the sense that white people are put on the world with certain checklists of things they have. It also operates in the sense that it creates psychologism. It creates a relative deprivation of sorts where black people who are aspiring to increase and to mobilize themselves through the classes see white people and think that their white privileges are the marks of success itself. So, in doing that, in seeking to mobilize through these classes, they take on the ideas of white privilege, so much so that they will even condemn and buy into the anti black stereotypes of their own people. So we see an academic and political discourse which insists on people more marginalizing the interests of certain groups of people, specifically young, black, criminalized men, so that they can participate in the types of ideologies that white people do under the guise of progressivism. Now, this doesn't mean that all black women hate black men, and it doesn't mean that black men certainly don't commit crimes. But what it does mean is that there's a type of academic discourse that's trying to be propagated throughout the populace and to many young students, which suggests to us that you don't have to know anything about black masculinity. You simply have to internalize the view that anything that is black and masculine is fundamentally evil and anti-progressive. So that means that when we think about programs like My Brother's Keeper, when we think about programs that are targeted to help black men, you automatically have an intuitive reaction to that, that since it's about something which is black and male, something that's aiming towards the masculine, that is something that is fundamentally anti-black and anti-woman. And it doesn't seem to matter. And see, this is the problem. Instead of us rejecting the moralism, which asks us to attack the argument, we never ask ourselves what's the basis for the argument. What is the actual condition of young black boys and young black men, such that there would need to be a national program for their rescue? We simply ignore it. And see, this is why I think the outrage that we find among so many academics about Michael Brown is disingenuous. How do you on the
Yeah. So if you want to find that whole um video, um I'll show you the name of the video. The name of the video, I'll show you guys right now. The name of the video is it's on YouTube. It's it's Rob Redding, and it's Black Lives Matter. Is it really 21st century civil rights movement? And Redding is spelled Redding. So yeah, you can check him out there. But yeah, I want to put something in there that'd be like a palate cleanser and stuff. And we're gonna okay. Here's where it's gonna get good. And again, oh no, damn it, the video's gone. I guess the video's gone because a lot of people were shitting on it. Now I gotta find it somewhere else. What I was trying to find was the video of Patrice Cullors, and where is it? Hmm. Maybe Twitter's down, or is Twitter just down for? Oh wait, let's see. Hold on, I'm having trouble pulling. Okay, things look back to normal now. Let me see if I can find that video. Hold on. Yep, the finger's here. I mean, the video's here. So check this out. And maybe I should play the whole video. This is just a clip, but maybe I should play the whole video. Check this out. This is amazing.
Also a critique though from the left, that would say, if you are a trained Marxist, if we're talking about a certain kind of radical politic, that extravagant homes of any sort or multiple properties of any sort is itself contradictory to the ideology that you hold. And so it's not about having money per se, but that it's about or about property per se, but it's about there being a potential contradiction between your expressed politics and your lived practice.
Sure. And I think that is a critique that is wanting. And I say that because the way that I live my life is in direct support to Black people, including my Black family members, first and foremost. And for so many Black folks.
I want you to catch what's crazy here. And so many other people said this too. They asked about, how are you a Marxist and you did this and you're doing this? And she said, yeah, I'm helping Black people, including my family. So she's trying to redefine. I'm going to check what she's trying to do. She's trying to redefine socialism as helping her family. In that case, the Rockefeller was a socialist, because I mean, the most capitalist thing you can do is hoard money to spread around your family and make sure your family's okay. Like, that's like, socialism isn't getting rich to hit your family up with shit. Like she's trying to say like socialist redistribution. And again, look at the back. These people always put their books up so you can see them to plug their books. Or her book, When They Call You a Terrorist, is up there. Alicia Garza does the same thing all the time.
Folks who are.
So I'm going to back it up so you can see how crazy the answer is.
And family members. The way that I live my life is in direct support to Black people, including my Black family members, first and foremost. And for so many Black folks who are able to invest in themselves and their community, they choose to invest in their family. And that's what I've chosen to do. I have a child, I have a brother that has severe mental illness that I take care of. I support my mother, and I support many other family members of mine. And so I see my money as not my own. I see it as my family's money as well.
So my money is not my own. I see it as my family's money as well. Oh, well, in that case, that's trained Marxism. Like, trained Marxism is making as much money as you can and seeing it as your family's money too. Like, I guess being a capitalist is, not giving your family the money, so yeah. So that's, I mean, I'm learning so much about what Marxism is thanks to these people. It's crazy, I want to play the whole thing is interesting, but it's like 20 minutes. But if you want to see how bad the so-called Black media is, this video, I'm gonna play some of it. I'm not gonna play the whole thing because it's too long, and hopefully I can just get to the good parts, but we should play some of this. So hold on, because that was
Black Lives Matter. That's been the loudest protest chant.
I mean, this guy is so bought off.
Black Lives Matter. That's been the loudest protest chant in the last few years, after the deaths of numerous Black men and women: George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, and now Dante Wright. Their deaths sparked protests all around the country, indeed around the world. The Black Lives Matter movement has inspired people to speak up for a race that has been disproportionately victimized and otherwise harmed by the police. But now, one of the people instrumental in the Black Lives Matter movement is also the subject of a major controversy. Joining me right now for a Black News Tonight exclusive, Patrice Cullors, the artist, the activist, the abolitionist, and of course, the co-founder of Black Lives Matter. Patrice, welcome. Before we get into the discussion, I do want to get your thought on the recent death of Dante Wright. I want to continue to center, obviously, the lives and the losses we've had. What do you make of what's happening?
I mean, firstly, I just want to send all of my love and care, a lot of love to Adam Toledo's family.
Oh, also, listen to this and keep the whole March, Pray, Love thing in mind, because again, nothing tangible is going to be discussed.
To Dante Wright's family, it's painful, it's disturbing. Anything Black Lives Matter Global Network can do for the family, we are here. And I also want to send a lot of love to Adam Toledo's family. Now that the video has been shared, it's all really heartbreaking and incredibly disturbing that we are going through this again and again and again.
Absolutely. So I want to pivot to the reason why you're here.
So, if you notice, there is no actual. If you notice, there's no actual tangible anything discussed. It's just, love, feelings, whatever. The usual March, Pray, Love stuff.
Here, in the last few weeks, there have been stories that have become very prominent in the national media around you, and particularly around issues of spending, issues of income. Specifically, there were two stories that came out that talked about you purchasing homes. You reportedly purchased 4 homes, and we're looking even at another home. I believe in the Bahamas. There were conversations about how you spend money, and the stories also had a lot of innuendo about the relationship between your money and your spending, and and questions around BLM global movements finances. So the first thing I want to do is talk about what's true that has been said and what has been untrue.
I want to start, thank you, Mark. I want to just something that's really important for people to hear. And that I have never taken a salary from the Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation.
Now,
Salary is a very key word.
oh yeah, that's a very key word. Oh hey, how's it going, Vito? Yeah. So right now, she said I didn't take a salary, but again, we're gonna get to that, right? So didn't take a salary, and then we're gonna go on.
And that's important because what the right-wing media is trying to say is the donations that people gave to Black Lives Matter went towards my spending. And that is categorically untrue and incredibly dangerous.
Now, what she's trying to say by that is that Black Lives Matter didn't directly pay her a salary, but there's ways around that. Like, she has a consultancy, and if they pay the consultancy and the consultancy pays her, she still like made the money. There's like a lot of different ways. Or if they give the money to someone else, and then that person, is part of the favor, because a lot of the organizations they give to are all their friends, and then their friends' organizations hire them back under the consultancy. And technically, Black Lives Matter didn't pay you a salary, but also if Black Lives Matter pays your company fees aren't you get a 1099. Technically, because of the 1099, it's not a salary, as in you don't get the same set thing every week, but they've paid you a bunch of one-time payments, and it's a lot of like slickness to put it that way. Like what she didn't say was we did not misappropriate the donations and use them for ourselves. He just says Black Lives Matter didn't give me a salary, but there's a million ways around that. And if Mark Lamont Hill is a journalist, he knows this. There's a lot of follow-ups he can do to all that, which he, of course, doesn't do.
Yeah, people consult with attorneys before they do these too. So
Yeah, They don't only consult with attorneys; they consult with him. Like I'm telling you, he sat down with her and they worked this out together. So I agree with you. They consult with attorneys, but she doesn't even have to consult with just an attorney for this. He's deliberately helping her out. And I'm gonna play his follow up question. Like he's not gonna ask any of that.
So you haven't
He's accepts everything she says at face value.
taken a salary. So your income that you use to make whatever purchases you've made have come from outside income. You've mentioned on your IG, and other people have talked.
He just rolls with it. He adds the extras. He does not look at. He's almost laughing. Like even he knows this bullshit to me.
Yeah, this is definitely prepared. It's similar to Jamel's interview.
Yeah, yeah. It totally is, and it's similar to all the activists that were vouching for him that I played earlier on Instagram. They all have the exact same speech and same talking points.
Talked about speeches, studio deals, book deals for your book when they call you a terrorist. Your income has not come from working directly with BLM, GM.
That's correct. Yeah, I'm a college professor, first of all.
And the whole thing is a puff piece. I'm not gonna play more of it, but it's just the whole thing is just that him just accepting everything at face value, not pushing back on anything. But I thought this was the funniest part to me. After it was all done, they did a whole different story. And this was funny. They did a whole different story, congratulating themselves for doing the interview. Like they just did the hard hitting, deep throat type of expose. So they made a story. They gave an interview about the interview, and it went like this.
Is this in the same episode?
It's proven to be more than
Same website, same. They don't have like real episodes. They just have video clips. But it's a new place he works for, like BNC. Right. Yeah. But also look at the views, like 2,591. Like it's kind of interesting how when these people have their own platforms, they don't really have a real following. But anyway.
than a hashtag, but a movement and a global rallying cry against the injustice the Black community faces. My BNC colleague Mark Lamont Hill spoke exclusively with Black Lives Matter co-founder Patrisse Cullors. She talked about the controversy and criticism surrounding her personal spending, the organization's finances, and more. Take a listen.
I think there are, as you said, there are some grounded critiques of me and BLM, and I take those grounded.
She doesn't say what they are.
And then there's some critiques, even if it's not from the right, grounded in more white supremacy and misogynoir. And that's just where we live right now. It's hard building movements. It's hard building Black-led institutions. We are doing something that many people...
And again, it's more the March, Pray, Love stuff. It's all new agey, nothing tangible.
Haven't done. Black women at the forefront. That is hard to comprehend. That's hard to understand. But I promise you that...
I also think it's kind of weird that they normalize talking about Black women only. Like they don't talk about Black people in the forefront. They have kind of normalized this idea that it's a movement meant to be only run by
Black women,
which I think is weird. If your whole start was based on the death of Black men, it's just very interesting how normalized it is. It's something that Tom Curry talked about in the clip that we played earlier, that they've made it seem like involving Black men is actually counter-revolutionary and almost like anti-Black women and pro-patriarchy. They've really normalized that.
I really take issue with playing these semantic games when people have real fucking questions and that are legitimate. I also fucking hate these semantic games when you're just trying to avoid what the real conversation is and what the real critiques are. Because you didn't list what those critiques were. You just said, oh, there are these critiques from the left and the right, and they're all white supremacists. But that's not true. You have critiques from Black people who are activists, Black people who've been activists longer than you've been activists, right? As far as we've known, right? So I don't understand why Mark Lamont Hill is playing into this. Well, I kind of get it. It's all politics and who you know and a bunch of weird palm greasing shit. I don't know what the actual benefit is for him to be doing this for her, but I do have a big problem with you trying to, you come out of CNN because, or whatever it was he was on, SNBC, whatever it was, to, because you were supposedly this person who's not afraid to speak out.
Mm-hmm.
But and that's kind of like the brand that and if he was smart, that's the brand you build off of. But then you have to be consistent, and you're not being consistent. You have this person who's giving you a bunch of bullshit answers, and I've seen Mark Lamont go in on people. I've seen him ask
Yeah.
really great questions.
He's capable of it. That's what makes it worse.
That's
You
that's
know?
exactly that's what, I'm gonna be real. That's one of the things that pisses me off about him in general. Because I've heard him on podcasts and things like that talking just in spaces where he feels more comfortable. It's like it's not even the same person.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, why do we get this Mark Lamont Hill, in programs like this where we should be seeing the Mark Lamont Hill that comes across as a real ass nigga and other shit, and he comes on here and he's tap dancing for BLM because I'm guessing. I mean, there's so much he could have asked that, like, when you say not getting a salary, does that mean you're not getting any income from BLM? Like there's so many ways to take that he just hands off. Oh, you're getting from outside sources. Well, what are these outside sources? And how did you get the name that you have in order to get money from those outside sources? Nobody gives a fuck about your book without the BLM movement, right? Nobody
Mm-hmm.
gives a fuck about hearing you
Yeah.
talk without the BLM movement. The same movement that you're saying doesn't pay you, but somehow you're getting all this money to buy property for or from.
And also, like, instead of letting her play all these silly games, he doesn't even have to hunt down the exact wording. Like, well, did you buy
No.
property in their name or whatever? All he has to say is, okay, can you tell us where the 60 million went? Just say
Right.
that. Just say, can you account for where the 60 million? Because 30 million went to their friends and their own organizations that they own, right? And
Right.
so there's like 30 organizations, 23 of them ended up being Black queer organizations by their own admission. Um, so first off, that 30 million that they accounted for is still bullshit because it's just greasing their friends' palms, and then their friends all buy consultancy services from her J&P consulting firm. But just say, okay, forget salaries, forget however you want to word it, 1099s, just where did the money go? It's the easiest way to dispel this. If they can show that 60 million is either sitting in the bank somewhere or has been spent on all this stuff, then people will know just by the process of elimination that money didn't get into her pockets because it's accounted for. And
Right.
that's the one thing she won't do, and that's something that he won't ask for. And it's such a basic thing to ask for that I'm convinced they have worked all this stuff out beforehand of
My
what to ask.
question,
Mhm.
you're saying, I don't say if I were Mark Lamont Hill, my question is, you say you're building a movement, so where does the donation money go?
Yep,
That's
exactly.
like you're saying that it's hard building a movement. Okay. I'll take, the wild shit.
Yeah.
It's hard building a movement. It's kind of a fucked up statement coming from somebody who I know is very familiar with local um, political organizing and local community organizing, because most organizations that have been doing this work won't see the money that Black Lives Matter got. Like when I say won't see it, like if whatever millions upon millions of dollars they got that we can estimate that they've gotten, you got local organizations that are really doing work that don't have the funding. And they're putting in that time and they're putting in their work and they're doing all that shit and they're saying it's hard. It's not hard when you have millions upon millions of dollars and we don't even know what y'all doing with it. You're saying you're building a movement. What's the movement? Where are the tangibles of that movement from all this money that you're saying you didn't get any of?
Yep. And I'm gonna play some more of this. This is for people who've been listening to our book club. This is a true pseudo event.
That what I have done with what other BLM leaders have done in the organization, and what we're trying to do is get Black people free.
That's
That's
more
what we're
that
trying to do, and we're
that's more that March Parade love stuff. Get people free. How? What does that mean? Don't worry about it.
going to make mistakes. We're going to stumble, but I
What are those mistakes? What are those stumbles? She doesn't say.
need the community. We need the community to lift us up. so that we can be accountable.
Wow. Wow.
We need the community to lift us up. You got that right.
Wow.
No, we need to lift up the community. It's your job. You know what it's like? It's like Hillary Clinton, which she says, "I'm with her," was her slogan, and Trump was like, her slogan should be, "She's with you." Like, what does that mean when she says that? Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
No,
you
absolutely.
got that right. Yeah,
Yeah, that first of all, what the fuck you mean the community should be uplifting you? You got millions upon millions of dollars. How much more uplifting do you need, nigga? Like, what
yeah,
does that
exactly.
like? People will uplift you when they feel you've done something for them. If the community is not uplifting you, why?
Yeah, she feels
Why?
entitled. Yeah, she feels entitled to it for
Where
sure.
are the tangible benefits for the community? I don't want to even accuse her of saying that there aren't any, but you got to tell me what they are. If you're
Yeah,
claiming this is
exactly.
what you're doing, tell me what they are. Maybe I missed it. I don't be in the news every day. I don't know what the fuck be happening sometimes. Hit me to the game.
Yep,
It's just
yep.
highly offensive. Like, I just find this to be really offensive. And the more I see these interviews, the more offended I get because I know she knows what real organizing looks like on the ground.
Yeah.
It will be different. It's like we talk about Martin Lamont Hill. It's like they know better. That's how I feel about Stephen A. Smith. All these niggas, they all know better, but somehow they come out tap dancing, and I ain't figured out why.
Oh, I mean, the reason why is because these people, it's like a mafia. They all want to help each other get on. You know what I mean? And it's like, because I think a lot of these people, their position is precarious. I mean, look at Mark Lamont Hill. He was doing good for a second. He said one wrong thing, and he got kicked to the curb. And now he's on this BNC thing. You have someone like Roland Martin. He was on CNN TV1. Suddenly he's got his own thing. So I think these people, they kind of realize like they don't really have real platforms. They have names because they've been put on white people's platforms, but they don't really have the kind of personality and platform that when they take it to their own thing, like people like them as the person on the platform. They don't really like them as them, really. So
That's true.
yeah. So it's like people want to see them on the big platform because when they see them on the platform, it makes me think, hey, that means that I can make it on the platform too. I'm celebrating Blavity Black making it big, and I'm supporting that. Soon as the person's doing their own venture, they don't do well. So I think that's why these people, they're always trying to prop each other up. She might get to meet Biden one day, and then she'll bring him along. But they're all like kind of friends, and I think it's a good way to kind of like. I wish more Black people had this kind of solidarity about constantly boosting each other, and you grease my palm and I'll grease yours. Like that's the one thing I'll give these people credit on. They're really good about that.
That's the media game, though. Like
Yeah.
that's what that is. That's why she's on here.
Yeah.
And I like what Kamar. I always fuck this up. Is it Kamaria? Have I been saying it right?
No, I think it's Kamaria.
Kamaria, I like what you said. Is she's acting like Black women haven't led movements, and you're right. It is very offensive. And I like this key point you said. You said on top of the fact that leading movements isn't even the goal. Thank you. The goal is something tangible, not get Black people free from what? How?
Yep.
What does that mean? How do we become free? What is it? What is the strategy that BLM has outside of being anti, nuclear family with Black men in them? Like outside of whatever that is, that's completely irrelevant to anything we do or we need. What are you doing that's tangible? I don't want to hear any of the bullshit.
Yeah.
I want to know what you actually have done and what you are doing and what you're planning to do.
It's the eat, pray, love of activism, like I said before. And the reason why it's like that is because I feel like this is really for white women at the end of the day, most of what these people do and everything. And white women love that type of Oprah Super Soul Sunday talk. You know what I mean? Yeah. So anyway, as usual, Vita, interrupt at any point and I'll hit pause.
Oh, yeah, do the thing.
Yeah.
The community, we need the community to lift us up so that we can be accountable in a principled way.
We need the community to lift us up so that we can be accountable, even though everything you've shown us is that you refuse to be accountable. Like it's so stupid.
Literally, the opposite of accountability is deflecting and
Yeah.
not even acknowledging the actual critiques that exist about your organization.
And And to her, what the community is supposed to do based on her Instagram posts and other stuff is to never question her. So that's the kind of funny thing that she, in this breath, she says, the community's job is to hold us accountable and uplift us. But it's like, okay, how do you do both uplift you and hold you accountable? And how can we hold you accountable if you said that we're not supposed to listen or ask questions about anything? It's just a bunch of bullshit.
Right. It's hypocritical.
Yep.
Honest way, and most importantly, in a loving way.
We're not obligated to be loving to you, but
Tonight, I'm honored
Yeah.
to have my colleague Mark Lamont.
so they showed that clip and now they went back to themselves, right? So they put that clip, and it's very interesting. They didn't show a clip of anything hard hitting. They just showed a clip of, a puff piece. So now she's going to interview him about the interview. Like, he just did some work. It's just the most narcissistic segment, the most like self-cannibalizing and incestuous thing, to first do a puff piece for someone, then have your colleague interview you about the puff piece that you just did for your friend, and act like this is all like
This is all, this is what they do on like MSNBC and CNN. So I
Yeah.
think he's trying to copy their format. I don't think he realized it looks even more ridiculous. It looks ridiculous
Yeah.
when they do it, but it looks even more ridiculous on a smaller platform because you don't have to.
it's so ridiculous. They're making their own news. Like, now we're gonna cover our own hard-hitting interview.
Hill joining me to discuss his exclusive interview. Mark, welcome. Hey,
Stop,
you gotta have
stop.
a backstory on how
Stop. Listen to how she says exclusive interview. Like, she's
Yeah.
really like, this is like this. He didn't interview Yahoo. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
he.
But the funny thing was, it wasn't even exclusive. Like, Jamel Hill had interviewed the same day with her. That's what's even
Right.
funnier. Like, it's not even
Exactly.
true. On top of that, but on top of that, like you said, who is this? That it's such a incredibly hard hitting interview. Like,
Real
whatever.
quick, shout
Go
out to
ahead.
Jen Kays. Thank you for the donation. And I appreciate the compliment. Jen Kays said Vita makes this pod invaluable, and that makes me feel good. So thank you.
Man, dude was sitting here all this time with me, didn't give a donation or give a compliment like that. You see that?
I listen.
It's all good. It's all
I
good.
appreciate it all. I'm just glad I'm here to contribute something meaningful. So
Definitely, you always do. You always do. You always do. Okay, so here we go.
this interview came together.
Well, I've known Patrisse Cullors for a long time. I actually met her right around the time of the Ferguson uprisings in 2014. And we had a professional relationship. We became friends, and we've spoken from time
So
to
he had
time.
Mr. Friend.
Honestly, when
So you
everything
admit your bias.
happened over the last few weeks in terms of the media outrage, I was concerned about her. I wanted to make sure that she had a space for her voice to be heard. I wanted to make sure that she had an opportunity to tell her truth, but also to be challenged, which is my job as a journalist. And so we reached out and asked her to come, and
He declared that he himself challenged her. That's not for you to say about yourself. Like,
But he
that's
didn't even challenge her.
Exactly. He didn't even challenge her. But he's trying. What he's doing is what I showed in that clip before, where the guy tries to lie to your face and tell you what you saw isn't what you just saw. I don't know if you saw it, but I played a clip from a movie where the guy is cheating on his wife, and he just gaslights her into believing that she didn't just see what she saw. He's like, yeah. So he's a hard hitting interview that I just did, and he's hoping that he can gaslight us into believing we just saw a hard hitting interview. Hold on. One thing that's funny is if you see the comments to either of the clips, it's just people just railing into him about what a puff piece it is. That's what makes it even funnier that he did this follow-up piece declaring that he was, because it's not like they didn't read those comments, so they know nobody
what
thinks.
What comments saying? Under this one.
Let me see what they're saying under this one, because I actually didn't look under this one, but I looked under the other ones. Let me check. Here it is. The first, right away, he's done his homework. So where are the receipts that prove she wasn't taking money? This man is lying, just like Patrisse Cullors. At this point, I believe they are working together. He's getting a cut of the money too. And this is a black woman saying this, so he can't say. And then the replies are like, this person called Rakim Ali, this seems like a plant, said, just stop it. I don't know Patrice, but I've always found the BLM movement suspicious, but I trust and believe Mark Lamont Hill.
Stop. Y'all, time out.
Yeah.
Let's look at that for a second, because
Yeah. That's just
clearly
fake as hell. Yeah.
that's clearly Mark Lamont Hill. Like,
yeah. At least he didn't put like, yeah, this is Spark Jamat Jill, and I feel like first of Rakim Ali. It just sounds like such like a fake black name.
like, what do you mean? I don't know Patrice, and I've always found BLM movement suspicious. Wait, so you found the BLM movement suspicious, but not this interview?
No,
because I trust, and first of all, I trust and believe Mark Lamont Hill as though he's like testifying at trial is pretty wild.
Yeah. But here's more comments. I had to ask the tough questions. Another LOL. Another biased media source. She knew where to go to avoid real questions.
Right.
Yeah. The same people that were complaining whenever a friendly face at Fox News interviewed Trump, and they do the same thing as if you can be objective interviewing a friend. She answered nothing. It was a softball interview. So yeah, we're not even cherry picking. You can just see we're not picking, the bad ones. It's all just wall to wall, like, you're full of shit. That's what makes us even funnier. Maybe they did this precisely because the first two videos were full of stuff like this, but clearly it didn't work because this video got the same stuff.
Well, I have a question about those view numbers. Do they account for embedded content? Like somebody took that YouTube video and embedded it, and the amount of people who watch it from there?
I think they do. I think the views count there because YouTube gets their ad revenue and stuff from things like that. So I'm pretty sure they do. Like I feel like that'd be a glaring hole. I mean,
yeah.
I could be wrong, but I just feel like it would be a glaring hole if they didn't.
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, I was just wondering because, like, sometimes I do notice that sometimes people put these things on YouTube, but this is saying it's a network on YouTube, so I don't know. They probably wouldn't do it, but sometimes they'll have promo ads. So like this could be, but this is clearly like a whole segment because it's 8 minutes. So they clearly weren't just like, hey, this is just something we're gonna throw. This is a 60-second or 30-second thing. We're gonna just throw on social media somewhere or throw into blogs somewhere. This is literally a whole segment of him sucking his own dick.
Yeah, basically, he's doing self-fellatio on this bad boy, and she's helping. It's just
said yes.
It's just all very pornographic.
I'm very grateful that she gave an exclusive interview to Black News Channel. BNC got this,
which she gave to Jamel Hill too, but whatever.
It's not one of the other outlets. I think that's an important sign of her commitment to Black institutions and Black movements.
Really?
And we had the conversation. There were no restrictions.
And she partnered with the Hammer Museum.
Take a listen.
Oh yeah, she partnered.
She said yes, and I'm very.
She partnered with the Hammer Museum. Yep, she did for that electric slide thing.
Which still doesn't make sense.
Yeah, we talked about that in the last installment. That was funny.
Institutions and Black movements, and we had the conversation. There were no restrictions. I didn't send the questions ahead of time.
Yeah, okay.
But I was very honest and direct and said, "Hey, I'm going to ask some tough questions." And
what were they? Please let me.
Yeah, that's how you know it's bullshit.
Yeah. Did you steal? No. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But you didn't
That's
ask
my tough question
to her ahead of time because she probably sent you the questions.
Yeah. Exactly.
You asked the same questions Jamel asked.
You know what? You're absolutely right. That could be another semantics thing. Like, yeah, I didn't send her the questions. She gave me the script. Like, yeah, you're right.
This is the thing. Media people, this is what I'm telling y'all. Like, I don't just be saying this shit. This is what they do. This
how to lie without lying.
He's a professional journalist. So he's been trained specifically, probably better than you lawyers are, around how to use language in a way to evoke the exact type of response that you want. That's what he's doing. So he's trying to evoke this other, he's trying to avoid evoking a response, really. So he's saying, oh, the questions were sent to me. I told her I was going to ask her tough questions. You didn't ask her tough questions. You didn't ask her shit.
Yeah, at all. Yeah. So, I looked up, and the Black News Channel is founded by someone named Bob Briante. And hold on, I gotta show you this. So, he's saying that, she did black media. This is Bob Briante. Organization founded, Black News Channel. So, I mean, he's the current chief executive officer of Black News Channel. Maybe he's really light skinned. I don't know, but that does not seem like black owned media to me. I mean, Adam Clayton Powell is like Wesley Snipes compared to that. So I don't know what that was, but because so someone says it's a clear. Oh wait, I can't hear you. Your mic is off.
That
Okay,
explains a
there you
lot.
go.
So I was saying a lot of shit. I
Oh,
was
okay.
saying
I was wondering why
Briante.
you're so quiet too. I'm like, I thought Vito have a field day with this.
I was ready. I did. Well,
Okay, there you go.
Briante is a Spanish name, so I find that to be interesting. But this is the thing about, at least I realize a lot of times with Latinos in media or whatever, is that they're not the same as Latinos you deal with like day to day, right?
Mhm.
Like they're basically white.
Yeah.
So even if and first of all, the fact that if he is Latino with a name like Briante, it sounds Spanish, which is a Spanish word. I don't know a single Latino that calls themselves Bob. So
That's true. You're right.
that's the part that I'm like,
Yeah, you can usually tell they're on some bullshit whenever they like Ted Cruz. Like you don't see a
it
lot
is
of like
Ted,
Latinos call themselves Ted or Chad or Ron. Like they
right?
always and they usually
Teo,
have like a real Spanish name that they change. Like so I won't be surprised if he's Roberto and
right?
he made himself Bob. Yeah, for
Which
sure.
is really a trip if your name is Roberto and you go by Bob.
Yeah.
So that tells you the kind of person that owns the Black News Channel
Yep.
or whatever this is called. What's it called? Black News Channel.
Yeah, I think it's called Black News Channel, BNC. Yeah.
Yeah, she was actually pretty candid, I thought. But did you get the answers you were expecting?
Sometimes, I had
She
no
was
doubt
pretty candid.
that the money that people are
Yeah, I mean, what does that even mean?
talking about that came into Black Lives Matter grassroots movement was on the up and up. I had no doubt that she wasn't taking anything. And I
Wait, so you went in admitting you had no doubt that she was innocent? Like,
So the purpose of this is to tell us how many times he's been biased, because he tells us that they've been friends since 2014. So that's 6 years of friendship. 7 years. 7 years of friendship, damn near.
yeah, it's a good point. What is the point of this? Because he's not really kind of helping his case. If anything, he's burying himself.
He's making it worse. It's like people who don't realize they're burying themselves further into the hole that they dug for themselves. That's
Yep.
what he's doing, because
He's undermining the whole interview.
yeah, because what's the whole what is the point of this? Because I'm not getting. Wow, he really did ask some hard hitting questions. I should go back and listen to the entire interview. This is basically saying you did some bullshit and now we're pissed. Like
Yep,
I'm
yep.
pissed, like watching it. I mean,
Yep.
knew that she wasn't taking a salary. I'd done my homework. I'd done my due diligence. I knew all of that. And so I knew she would be able to refute those lies.
what due diligence and homework? You asked her over tea?
He said, "I knew she'd be able to refute those lies." Like, you're right. This is actually really bad. This is almost like, just in case you thought the video wasn't biased, I'm going
I
to
knew she would combat those lies. That's
Yeah.
complete biased journalism.
totally.
Owning
Not, I was
homes
interested
and
or curious to see what she was going to say.
Exactly. Or I was hoping she would dispel, even if you were in the tank for her, you should say stuff like, I was hoping she would dispel these disturbing allegations, and I felt that she did. You can at least say that, even though that would be bullshit
Right.
too, but at least pretend.
Yeah.
and who's in those homes and why she has those homes and how those homes correspond with her politics. That was something that I didn't quite know how she'd answer. And she answered
What?
it, I think, in a fairly transparent way.
So he basically said, what I didn't know is how she would answer how owning those homes correspond to her politics, and I feel like she answered them in a pretty transparent way. Now, I don't know if you heard this part. I think you did, but she basically said, "Yeah, I'm a Marxist because I redistribute my money to my family." So, I mean, he knows
Which
what
is not
Marxism.
Marxism.
Yeah, he knows what Marxism is. Like somebody was saying, basically, like Bill Gates is a Marxist, then, or you know, uh, anybody who
The
gives money.
Vanderbilts are Marxists.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm not gonna play anymore. You get the point. It's like 5 more minutes of just that.
But it's
But
kind of funny. I'm not even gonna lie. It's a little bit funny to like watch because
oh yeah,
you don't expect people to be that blatant. I guess you expect them to be a little bit more, savvy with all this, but clearly they're not, and they're just like
and what do you make out of that? Because I don't know what to make out of that. Because part of me wants to think these people are smarter than they are, but sometimes
you
I
got you
really
questioning
wonder.
now. You got
Yeah,
you
I really,
thinking.
yeah,
Well, when you're smart but you have an agenda, sometimes you just stick to the agenda. You
yeah,
know, it's not even about being smart because reality is this: Mark Lamont is extremely smart, which is why I get so disappointed at shit like this, right?
yep.
Like I said, I've heard him multiple times over the years. I've seen him go at people. I've seen him dig in and really get people, and especially if they piss him off, then he really goes in, right? Um, so I know what he's capable of. So when I see something like this, and it's clearly beneath what he's capable of, to the point where it's a slap in the face, because now you're trying to tell me you must have missed the genius of my interview with Patrice Cullors. And they're like, nigga, no, we saw that shit. And now you're trying to convince us that we didn't see the bullshit we just saw? You trying to tell us we didn't just see you go easy on her? We didn't just see you avoid important questions? We didn't see you just sit up there and take her bullshit for fact without any follow up?
The one thing I've noticed from Mark Lamont Hill from arguing with him online in the past, and seeing other people argue with him too, is and this might answer your question. I do feel like a lot of times he thinks if you're not from like his camp of like talented 10 types, that people are kind of like, yeah, he's the smartest guy in the room. So I think, because I've seen him like you know people who he thinks like present like hoteps or whatever and that stuff, he will kind of phone in the response or do something like really disingenuous. He plays dumb a lot. He plays like dumb and sassy a lot with people. I've seen him do it. So part of me thinks that, I just think he thinks that people are kind of dumb. That's what I think it is. Like I think when he respects the person that he's dealing with, he brings his A game, and then for whatever reason, I just think he thinks that you know we're gonna swallow this shit up. Like that's the only thing I could think.
It
That's
was clearly a promo piece, like, it wasn't really supposed to be meaningful. It was supposed to promote Patrice and keep her
yeah.
brand intact so she can keep getting the money she's been getting from whoever she's been getting the money from. Isaac K said, why do you keep acting like Mark Lamont Hill ain't the 21st century version of Michael Eric Dyson? I don't even know what that means because I don't know how I'm acting. All I said was I think he's very smart, and that's because I've heard him talk about things and I've seen him in debates. And when he wants to, he can be very smart. And I would say the same thing for Michael Eric Dyson. I mean, he's very smart. He's a very smart guy. That doesn't mean I like everything he says. It doesn't mean I agree with everything he says. It doesn't mean that I think he doesn't, be tripping, because I think Michael Eric Dyson be tripping. And I used to
Oh
watch
yeah.
Michael Eric Dyson heavy back in the day.
But
And
yeah.
he has some good books, to be honest with you. But
But mhm.
mhm.
No,
No,
to
go
say,
ahead.
but even if he is co-opted and a shill, we still have a right to expect better shill. Like at least try to
Right.
you know
Very true.
shill better than that.
And there are people who do shill better. And
Yeah.
that's fine with me, because you just first of all keep your bullshit to yourself. Like, that's fine.
Yeah.
As people start trying to, people start letting the bullshit, flood over into other shit because you're so busy trying to kiss ass to get to where you gotta go. I'd rather you just not pretend you one of them niggas. That's really how I feel. You know
Yeah.
who I kind of respect in that regard. Not that I always agree with him either. The sports guy. So I listen to his podcast too.
Stephen A. Smith.
No, fuck him. Bomani Jones.
Oh yeah.
Because I listen to his podcast, he makes it very clear. He says, "I'm gonna let y'all know right now, the right check come. I'm not gonna pretend like." Or he'll say things like, "I know how to." He chooses his words very, very carefully to get the point across that he wants to make without losing his job. That isn't now. I would love for him to just go hard, but that ain't, he made it clear that ain't what I'm gonna do, and that ain't what I'm about. I'm gonna make the points I need to make, and that's it. And I can respect that, even if I would, prefer every black media person go hard, or be
Yeah.
whatever. But if you saying I'm gonna stay in my lane, hey, no qualms about it. But when you start trying to do shit like portray yourself as being some sort of revolutionary journalist, or you're doing some sort of having these questions that are hard hitting, and I'm doing the work, and you're not. If that's not who you are, if you are as a tap dancer, then nigga be a tap dancer.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. Like it's all
Oh,
just
I just didn't know what you meant, Isaac. I'm not saying I wasn't offended. I didn't think you were coming at me. This is a show, right?
yeah. I didn't think you were. I didn't think you were either. Um,
Yeah, don't worry. I wasn't taking it any type of way, Isaac.
by the way, everybody, feel free to share. Feel free to share this on your social medias. Let people know we're up here. Let's see if we can get over 100 people up in here.
Oh,
Uh,
facts. You
yeah,
got a
yeah,
good
yeah.
number.
So, check this out. And this was some bullshit. And this shows how so many people are kind of in bed with each other and everything. Because one thing these people are good at is currying favor with people in power. And I wouldn't be surprised if Facebook and Black Lives Matter, um, because these people have built up. Black Lives Matter has become like the go-to face for a lot of stuff. So a lot of lazy corporations and stuff like that have just given Black Lives Matter money or done consultancy with them. So in a way, it's in their interest to make sure Black Lives Matter's
Looks
image
good.
is solid. A, because they've built relationships or made friendships with them, and B, if all your social justice work has been giving a big check to Black Lives Matter, if they get exposed as frauds, then now you look like the clueless white person or corporation that just gave money to a fraud, and now you've got to do something else to kind of prove
Right.
your backlash. So right here, Facebook prevents sharing of the New York Post story on Black Lives Matter founder Patrice Cullors' real estate.
Yeah, I
You
heard
know,
about that. I know people who actually got their stuff taken down, and I actually moderate a couple of groups. And
mm,
what happens is Facebook, as a moderator or an admin of a group, they send you a notification that there's been violations in your group, and that was one of the things that was considered fake news or was a violation of the group.
yeah, they took it down, and their excuse for that, what they said was that it was doxing her house, but they put up like they didn't show the address, and
Right.
they've put stuff up like Bernie Sanders' house. This guy Jimmy Dore, they took a picture of his house when Dr. Dre was almost shot by the cops. They took a picture outside. They take the picture outside people's houses a lot. So the idea that that picture was enough that people could somehow find her house and track her down and everything, like that's some bullshit. But whenever you see these corporations and they're doing stuff like that, if you search, you'll always find that they were doing some kind of work with Black Lives Matter. So Zuckerberg posts Black Lives Matter and pledges to review Facebook's
Mm.
policies, and he's like done like stuff with them, and posted the name or consulted with them. So it's all just very
Mhm.
it's all just very, very incestuous.
Yeah, I didn't even think to look at that, but yeah, that's actually a really good point. Um, but I still feel like as a platform, like you're supposed to be a social media platform, why is it necessary to censor everything just because you
Yeah,
don't like it? If it's and on top of that, anybody that wanted to research that information about Patrice could easily do it because it was already public information.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
and her name, like her name is everywhere. Patrice Con Colors. Like people found Kendrick Lamar's house. You know what I mean? So people can. And I remember when that happened. People just took pictures. Oh, he bought some property. So all they do is go to these records and they search people's names. And so
Yeah,
comes up.
it's all public records. That's how the New York Post was able to do it. That's why they couldn't sue them to take it down or whatever. This guy Jarrett Hill, queer black man, journalist, artist, speaker, co-host, president of National Association of Black Journalists, Los Angeles. That organization, you always know, is going to be on some bullshit. And
Yeah.
had these bylines. He tweeted this thing, exposing in scare quotes, Patrice having some money and a bit of financial savvy highlights the way society thinks about blackness and activism. It says that being black, fighting for freedom and liberty are not synonymous with money or financial acumen. Money is not black unless it's bling. So now,
Stop.
at least he had an original argument. He's saying we only respect black people with money if it comes from hip hop, I guess, or gold chains. I don't know.
He added extra.
It's still bad. Yeah. But here's the best part. I've been to the Inglewood house. Like, these people are totally unashamed of showing how compromised they are. So you're a journalist. You're the president of NABJ LA. And you're saying, like, you're letting people know, I've been to the house. It's not a luxurious mansion with love. It's a house in LA. Patrice has been an international figure for years now. And now here come the usual talking points that she, bought, and, and the same old thing. How does she get those?
Now that would be a headline. Why? See, this is the thing that pisses me off about shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
That particular type of point is it goes to this unnecessary extreme. Nobody's saying a girl got to live in squalor. Like, nobody's saying that. The questions are, what's going on with this money motherfuckers are sending you that you don't have to be accountable for? And we seeing you supposed to be a leader of a quote unquote movement, and we seeing you pop up with all these properties. Meanwhile, the families of the people who were murdered, whose names you used to prop yourself up and build your movement, quote unquote movement, to get money so you could get those opportunities to speak or write books or whatever it is. Those same families are suffering today financially. Those same families that you built your entire brand off of. So that extreme shit, if she was destitute right now, you know who's destitute? Some of these families whose names you used. That's who's destitute. Yep. You got families saying that they had to pay for lawyers. They ain't got a dime from Black Lives Matter. They're soliciting donations under their dead son father's name. And you have the nerve to sit up here and put some weird ass extreme. If she was destitute right now, that would be a headline. No, you know what the fucking headline is? The woman has our money. What the fuck is she doing with it? That's the fucking headline. And that's the headline for a reason. Instead of the motherfuckers questioning that, you bring up one fucking house in Inglewood. Ain't no mansions in Inglewood. Of course she don't have one house in Inglewood. What that mean?
And also there's 3 other houses, one of which has like a private runway. Yeah, there's more houses in different places. So it's like
South LA.
Yeah, so it's all just
it's bullshit. You don't have to come in caping. Listen, I know Patrice too. I ain't coming in here caping for her. In fact, I learned on this show that she had an agent, a CAA, and all that shit. I didn't even know that till I was on here. So I didn't even. What I'm saying is, like, you don't have to go to bat for people. You can fuck with somebody, you fuck with her, you fuck with her. But you don't gotta come out here and try to play everybody else like we stupid.
And you know what? I'm gonna give myself a quick correction. I was wrong. It wasn't Patrice on Jamel Hill. It was Alicia Garza who came out talking on Jamel Hill. I was wrong. So it wasn't exclusive. So there was one true there was one true thing.
Damn questions though. So what does that mean?
Yeah, exactly. It was questions and the same answers. So it was it's easy to get the two of them confused. Do you want to read the rest of his thread?
Yeah,
since you're talking about
Oh, you want me to do it?
Oh, I was gonna ask if you wanted to, since you were already worked up about it. I was gonna
I can keep going. It's just two. So let's see. If she was us two right now, that would be a headline. Whatever, nigga. Organizational activism should not equate to poverty. Again, extremes. Economic instability, ignorance, or otherwise being aware of how to make, have, spend, or invest. Organizational activism needs people with financial savvy because the shit ain't cheap. All again, a deflection from the fucking point.
Mm-hmm.
It's all this is serving up as a deflection from what people are actually saying. Where the fuck is the money that people have donated going with the families are out here suffering and denouncing you because you use their dead son's name or their dead husband, father, whoever's name. So they're calling your black ass out. Nobody's talking about that, right? Why aren't you addressing their concerns? How this woman got 4 or 5, however many properties, 3, 4, 5 properties, and these families are barely being able to pay the rent. Black families in South Central suffering today. They just closed down 2 of our grocery stores in our neighborhood. Two. Ain't that many grocery stores in the hood like that. It ain't even high quality in the first place. They closed down 2 after sabotaging them. They were literally sabotaged to close because they were understaffed in an area that's highly populated and doesn't have other alternatives. That's what's happening right now in our community. But she got 3 houses. We can't even keep basic things in our community. Today, people can't pay rent today. People, look. You can't drive nowhere in LA and not think you in Skid Row because there's so much homelessness here. You can't go there's an area where a Bank of America was that closed. There's nothing that closes in the community is banks. I mean, there were more check cashing places. That's another conversation for another day. There's a Bank of America that closed, and in that lot along the side of that street is all homelessness. People living in tents and sleeping bags. But she got 3 houses, and we suffering still in the hood. I'm not saying she has to give up everything or anything like that, but you have to be accountable. If we find out you got hundreds of millions of dollars in donations, but we're not seeing no tangible benefits, but you popping up with houses, what do you think the questions are going to be? Why not? If all is legit and it's on the up and up, just say the truth. Say what it is.
Yep.
But don't be a hypocrite.
Yeah. So I mean, he, goes on about people shouldn't have to be poor, all that usual stuff. I mean, you pretty much covered it, and that's like the end of that. But uh, check out. I mean, we have these black check journalists, these blue checks, and these blue checks and these wanted checks, were like people who haven't hit full blue check status but are aspiring to it. Just are so clearly co-opted. It's so bad. They're not even good at this. But look at this article. This is a even crazier one. This woman writes, and I went to her Twitter, and
I've
it's just
seen this. Yeah.
it's just her kissing famous people's asses like all the time and adding them and trying to get them on her podcast. But she wrote this article for the Independent in the UK, a pretty big platform, and it says, why exactly do you think BLM founder shouldn't live in a $1 million house? When I first heard about the controversy surrounding Color's wealth, it gave me pause. Then I realized that's because I've been conditioned to think a certain way about black struggle and black success. And I just love that she says like it gave her pause for a split second. Then she realized like instantly that, oh, it's because I've been conditioned to think a certain way. It's actually okay. It's all good.
Go back to the top of that, please.
Oh yeah, of course.
Why exactly do you think BLM founder Patrice Cullors shouldn't live in a $1 million house? Now, this is an example of media deflecting. This is another example of that. Nobody's saying that whether or not she should or shouldn't live in a house. That's not even the question. Who gives a fuck? Where the fuck is the money? Like, that's what the question is. That's what the headline should read. Where is the money that people donated to BLM? What is the plan? What are you guys doing? Is there a strategy? What is happening? Do you have an underground committee of people who are working on something? Like, what the fuck is happening? You are deflecting and changing the conversation to why do you think? So not only that, you're trying to say the problem is me and my thinking. You're switching the issue. It's like it's that like kind of like gaslighting a little bit, right? All
Yep.
of a sudden, you're not. Oh, what do you mean? What do you? Why do you think she should? I didn't. Who cares? I don't give a fuck where she live at. I'm talking where the fuck the money is because she popping up with shit, and we ain't seeing nothing else. We seeing the only tangible thing we've seen as far as dollars that went to BLM is your property. That's the question. So to come up here and to get up here and write this stupid article, why exactly do you think? Don't worry about what I think. Write a fucking article that investigates where the fuck the money went. So trying to kiss some goddamn ass. The question is so fucking infuriatingly offensive to anybody who has an actual critique. And I like something that was said in here. Here it is. It's the thank you, iSound Info. It's the same sort of rhetorical context that allows people to define criticism or asking questions as threatening and violent. So the fact that you had the gall and the fucking nerve to sit up and ask why, to sit up there and question why this woman got $1 million house. That's violence. You hate Black women. You're against a movement led by Black women. So who the fuck do you think you are?
And it shows how they kind of view a lot of Black people on the ground, like this kind of, how dare you unwashed masses, like, you know, we're doing this for you, shut up. And like this weird kind of arrogance to it. Like if you were really our representatives and beholden to us, you would be almost like prostrate or whatever, or bending over backwards. But she's mostly been lecturing Black people about how dare you signal boost this, how dare you do that, where you should be uplifting us. Like what she was saying in the other interview, like we kind of, you guys, the community should be uplifting us. These are the acceptable ways in which you can hold us responsible. Here's the avenues that we allow you. And it's like, it's so condescending. Like you're supposed to serve us, not the other way around.
But how white supremacist is that though? Like,
oh yeah, it's a very white woman.
Yes, that entire like frame of thinking is extremely Caucasian. Like,
yep.
Like I don't see how they don't see the hypocrisy in this, especially people who are well educated in this. These aren't people who aren't educated in the ways of activism, in the ways of organizing. This, in fact, I think this is Alicia Garza. Wasn't she doing that before BLM? Wasn't she an organizer or some shit?
Yes, yeah, and she was connected to a lot of white organizations. I think she learned a lot of these games. She was connected to Peter Buffett's organization. Tablet Magazine has an article about that. We've discussed it in previous installments.
Yeah, I get really frustrated with people who know better and they're pulling the same stunts. That's some white woman shit. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, for sure. Check out this article. I'm going to read it really fast. The vilification of Patrisse Cullors, the co-founder of Black Lives Matter, for buying $1 million house in an affluent, mostly white neighborhood is a distraction. It's a distraction that is a bitter pill to swallow, not because Cullors has declared her support for Marxism, but because of the timing. We're not asking ourselves why Dante Wright was shot and killed. That's very sleazy to bring up a dead Black man as a way to kind of get her off the hook.
But this is the thing that makes me mad about that is that's stupid because we are asking that.
Yeah, exactly. And that's even more reason to ask where the money's going. Like reinforcing that there's a real problem on the ground, if anything, is more of a reason to ask where's the money going. Like if anything, it's not a reason. Like these people are kind of presupposing the thing that they're supposed to be proving, which is does Black Lives Matter help the people that they purport to help? And they're putting the cart before the horse. Like, so they're saying, oh, we don't have time for this. People are dying. But that's only a valid objection if you can prove that the people that were accusing have a track record of actually getting tangible results. But so basically, you saying, oh, Dante Wright's dead. We don't have time for this. She basically say we need Patrisse out there in the streets helping the Dante Wrights of the world. Okay, well, show us how she's helped them in the past, which you can't do. Like that's our problem. Like she's not showing us that she helps the Dante Wrights of the world. So
But don't
Yeah.
tell me what I'm not asking. You're not doing
Yeah.
it. Yes, the fuck I am. I want to, because people act like you can't do more than one thing at a time.
Yep.
Yes, I can ask where the fuck this money is, and I can also ask about what happened to Dante Wright. I can also, go to the store and buy some ice cream. I can do a lot of different things. It doesn't take. It's not one or the other. Like, don't frame shit like that because it
And
makes me
also,
feel like you think I'm stupid.
it's not even two different things. They're the same thing because if
That's
you
true.
want to help the Dante rights of the world, we need to make sure that the people getting the money to help the
Are
Dante rights of the world are using it honestly. So that's
right.
just very bullshit to even act like they're not even directly related things. She goes, the reaction to Color's ability to buy a nice house speaks volumes about what we think Black people should fight for and what Black people should have access to. But that kind of shows really how you think as a bougie Black person that that's your main concern from all this is
Wait, go back to that. Don't scroll that. Come back.
what we think Black people should have access to. Like that's what she thinks this is about, because that's her big concern. She wakes up all day thinking about what do I as a Black person have access to and have the right to partake in.
So again, all deflection. The reaction to Color's ability to buy a nice house speaks volumes about what we think Black people should fight for. The reaction to her ability to buy a nice house, that is not what happened. Again, reframing shit. It's not about her ability to buy a nice house because she did that shit. She bought the fucking house. Houses, not a nice house. Houses. Another thing another stunt she's trying to pull here. Minimizing. That's another tactic of the media. Minimize the reality because it's again to control you how you're supposed to respond to the information. The reaction to Color's ability to buy a nice house speaks volumes about what we think Black people should fight for. Those two things aren't even correlated.
This is a great line by I Sound Info. I love how they keep saying house and conspicuously ignore the fact that there's multiple houses.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah, and she was
Houses.
trying to get a fifth.
Right. So, but those two things aren't correlated. The reaction to Color's ability to buy a nice house speaks volumes about what we think Black people should fight for, not what we think Black people should buy with their money. You see what I'm saying? That's not what she said here. About what we think Black people should fight for. How are those things correlated? What does that even mean? And what Black people should have access to? Go ahead.
Because she's giving away the game that she thinks what they fight for is all about what it gives them access to. So she's kind of just exposed herself that's what she thinks the whole fighting for is about what it allows the activists doing the fighting to get, kind of like someone earlier, I put a post from someone saying this is actually great news because it's going to inspire more people to go into nonprofits. Yeah, and because she thinks that's what going to nonprofits is for a come up,
Which is, first of all, anybody with a nonprofit that's not funded by like these major corporations, that shit is not easy. That's work. Yeah. And you work way more hours than you'll ever get in a salary.
And connections, yeah.
Like
to get to the top.
Right. But even if you get to the quote unquote top, like if that doesn't necessarily mean lots and lots of money. And the thing is, if you're passionate about the work, that's not even the motivation. People who are passionate about the work is the motivation, not getting money and rewards for doing the work.
Yeah, they're passionate about the rewards.
And that's the problem. Yeah. You're passionate about the accolades and the money and the power, hopefully, you know what I'm saying? Like the hopeful power that you think you're going to have. The problem is your movement isn't sincere then. That's not a sincere movement if you're centered on getting something out of it versus my community being built or growing my community or progressing my community or whatever that community may be. Maybe you help cancer survivors. Nobody want to hear you talking about I bought all these nice houses and the people you're supposed to be helping can't pay their medical bills. Like that's hypocritical. And people will start asking questions. I feel like these media people who are all in cahoots are always trying to like play us like we dumb. And I don't like that shit.
Yeah, and I'm sure this woman calls herself an activist too, because activist means nothing anymore. All these journalists always put activist in the bio, and to them, activist is just
Talking about
writing
it.
puff pieces. Yeah, yeah, talking about things and writing puff pieces for uh, Black Lives Matter. But this is great. She goes, "I'll be honest. Discovering colors could afford to buy a nice house in an affluent part of Los Angeles gave me pause too. As an LA resident myself, I'm acutely aware that the city she and I both live in is struggling with homeless rates that have increased exponentially since the pandemic began. And like someone said, this is totally hope she sees this, King, but the article version, like she's basically
Mhm.
wants Patrice to notice her. The increasing number of homeless encampments on the drive between my home and my kid's school is, quite frankly, heartbreaking. But after that pause, I immediately called myself out. She held herself accountable, Vita. And she realized that the pause itself was connected to how she's been conditioned to. So she got over the homeless people real quick, and she realized, wait a minute, here's the real problem here. I've been conditioned to think that black people like me shouldn't get rich. Because see what it comes down to. We talk about equity. We often look at the lowest common denominator: access to decent, not good schools, functional but not amazing housing, the ability to live our lives without prejudice, but not necessarily to live our lives to the fullest. Do you realize
What?
how crazy that those two paragraphs are back to back? She basically said,
Yes.
I was looking at homeless people, I was looking at encampments, I was looking at people struggling to find places to live and everything. But then I realized, hey, I've been conditioned to think about things badly. We spend too much time looking at all these problems like access to even decent schools, access to basic functional housing, and subjugation and oppression, but not necessarily how to get as rich as we can. That's insane that she just said that
Because
out loud.
because it's fucking, because it is insane. It's a fucking insane statement. And I have a huge problem with this misrepresentation of the conversation. If Patrice Cullors was just some entrepreneur who started a small business somewhere and blew up, nobody would be upset.
Exactly.
If she could be, especially, let's say she built a business up and she hires from the community. You know what I mean? So she pays taxes in the community. So she's doing things that actually invest in her community. Maybe she opens up a center or has a foundation, whatever it is, and she popped up a millionaire. Nobody's mad because there was no donation. She exchanged goods and services for the finances that she has, and that investment. And there are investments into the community in some way. Nobody's mad about that. So it's not about just having nice things and having money. Plenty of people got nice things and got money, and we not mad at it. The thing that we're mad at is you touted yourself as being a movement. You tout yourself as being a movement. But what movement are you moving in? What's the
Yeah,
direction?
she's moving into houses and moving into white
Boom.
neighborhoods. That's all the movement I've seen for her is just moving into rich white neighborhoods. That's the movement, basically. Movement into these nice, cozy places. It's great. In the middle of the article, there's a recommended, and it's a link to another article. BLM founder breaks down over attacks. I have been a target. Like they are milking this this death threat thing to crazy, like
No, the
crazy.
craziest thing is the headline right under that. Read the headline right under that.
Uh, oh, I thought I knew everything about online deception, but we should be scared by what I've just seen. Yeah, no, it's very fitting.
Right.
It's funny the algorithm pulled that up in relation to
What
to
we've just seen.
yeah, exactly. Uh, and I mean, the rest of this is more craziness. She brings up the typical black household, like she's bringing up actually legit poor black people as if that somehow. So basically, it's trickle down. It's basically trickle down economics. The typical black household has 12% of the wealth. It's a wealth gap. So basically, we need to get Patrice 5 houses to help inspire all the poor homeless black people, or maybe the money will eventually
No, read the rest
trickle.
of that paragraph.
But yeah, okay. A typical black household in the U.S. has 12.7% of the wealth of a typical white household, according to the Center for American Progress. This means that Black people, even when we're fighting for equity, constantly have to figure out how we can pay our bills and craft a financial foundation for our future. In a capitalist society that constantly affirms the belief in the American dreams, we also want access to the things that will make our lives feel more comfortable and more secure. Sometimes that's a house with 4 bedrooms. And like Isan Info said, she left out the other 3 houses and the
A
fifth
house.
house that she was trying to buy that she didn't get in Bahamas.
A house, right? Like
Yeah.
you're not even like listen to yourself. A house. Sometimes that's a house. Yes, sometimes it's a house. Sometimes it's groceries. Sometimes it's a vehicle to get to and from work and to your kids to and from school. Absolutely. But that's not what we're talking about here. Like that complete misrepresentation of what we're actually talking about is super annoying. Like you can see it all through this article. It's like the entire thing is to deflect, make you think you didn't see what you saw. That's gaslighting and shit. You know,
Yep.
like all this shit to make us feel like we the ones that's tripping, not the person who's sitting up there buying all this property while the families whose names she built her work off of are struggling. Explain to me how we're supposed to ignore that part of it because you think it's okay for people to have, nice houses. Nobody's saying she can't have a nice house. We want to know where the fuck the money is.
Yep. I mean, the rest of this article is so.
Is she profiting from donations? Yes. You know how I know she's profiting? Because her whole brand is profiting from the donations.
Yeah, exactly. So in 2020, Colors appeared in a video where she confirmed she believed in Marxism as a philosophy that questions capitalism. I played that video last time, where she basically made Marxism sound like, it's just about asking, hey, is capitalism bad? Yeah, it is. Okay, moving on. But she goes, we can get to a place where there is a socioeconomic system that does not oppress some groups. Actually, you know what? I played this video last time. So I already said why this video was dumb, but she's basically just repeating what was in that video about there's no reason why a person can't have personal luxuries while running profitable businesses and also advocating for racial justice. But again, there's no talk about actual results. Like there's no talk about what she actually got done.
I was like, that's a defense. The defense would be, look at all these things she's done though. I still might have questions, but at least that's a defense.
They wanted to have 4 houses for stated intentions. We don't even know even her real intentions, but for saying the right things and being a Black queer woman and saying that she's doing this stuff. They never actually say again what she's accomplished. Is Colors profiting from BLM donations? I doubt it, and there's no evidence to support that conclusion. Okay, the 90 million and all the money not accounted for is not proof. And then there's also, well, white people do it, like the likes of Warren Buffett, Gloria Steinem, and Amal Clooney have all made names for themselves in pursuing, but they didn't get rich from the philanthropy or from the activism. They got rich from other stuff they were doing, so yeah, it's then there's a mention of Fox News. So go on.
Well, I was just thinking about the other comment around being a Black and being a woman and basically making it seem like that's all that's necessary. We shouldn't ask so many questions. And I'm gonna do a plug. I'm gonna do a plug, even though you didn't.
Please do.
Oh, you're saying yes, cool. So Afrogen Revolt is coming back. Afrogen, AFROGYN. We actually recorded. That's why I have to be available with my mic and everything. I actually just finished recording our first episode of the new season with Kay. And one of the things we talked about before we recorded was why we were doing the show. Mm-hmm. And that was why we were doing the show, because of shit like this. Because people are going to give you that this is the Black woman perspective. And these women do not represent Black women on the ground, right? This whole conversation trying to excuse the fact that we don't know where this money's at that was donated to BLM and we're watching you pop up with houses. This is them trying to use Black women, and not just Black women, Black queer women, Black femmes, whatever. Like they're using us as some sort of shield for their bullshit that doesn't even benefit us as Black women. Nothing they've done has benefited Black women. These mothers are out here crying today. You got moms. There's a mom I was talking to, a Black woman who's literally till this day scared to let her son wear a hoodie. That's a real fear among a lot of Black moms out here. whether they say it or not. That's some real shit. And so those conversations that Black women really need to be having aren't being had on these platforms. They aren't being had on in the independent or these news outlets, and they're certainly not coming up with BLM, even though they're pretending like it. But they're not coming up because they don't actually care about Black women. It's not even about that. It's about their jobs, their brand. It's about building up their name. And that's not the kind, to me, that doesn't represent us. So that's why we're bringing African Revolt back. And I'm really passionate about making sure that stays around because there aren't many outlets or places that have true perspectives of Black women. So what's happening is I'm going, you talk to people, and this is going just beyond Twitter, right? You have people who believe that these people represent the Black female perspective. And they're repeating these words. You got white folks out here repeating all the terminology and jargon wrong, right? Because that's what's being told to them. And it's about Black women. You posted something today with the white woman talking about Black women are divine with the little BLM thing at the bottom.
Oh yeah,
right?
the weird white woman. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's a common thing. They do that to me out here all the time. Oh, Black women this and Black women. I just keep rolling my eyes. Like, yeah, we dope and we fly, but I can't take that seriously from the same people who are bent on my demise, right? The same people who are destroying my community. I'm
And
not
then what
gonna,
do you say? And then what do you say about Black women when they're serving a cause that white people care about? So it's like,
that benefits them. Yep.
yeah, like Joe Biden winning or some bullshit, you know?
Right. Hell, Kevin Samuels. What is? I don't know how Kevin. I don't know what that had to do with Patrice, and the donations should just stream on Twitch. Get donations direct. That was KB. This is the thing. Like, we have these women who are trying to use Black womanhood as some sort of automatic victim perspective, right? It's like we've become these automatic victims that are completely powerless. But how are we these victims that are completely powerless and we're watching you buy all these houses? Like, none of this shit makes, like, you're not adding up to the message. What you're saying is not adding up to the actions. And that's where I get really frustrated because these people have now become the representation of Black women in the media, and this is who people are going to have that, to be that representation. And they're just repeating the same bullshit without any tangible benefits. Name one tangible benefit that has come out of any of these organizations, any of these companies, any of these politicians that literally actually benefit Black women tangibly, but parade us around all the goddamn time.
I could think of one. Well, it depends on which Black women you mean. Because if you mean Patrice and her wife, there's a great home buying program that helped two of
I
them.
think her wife is non-binary.
Oh yeah. Oh, so Actually, I'm like a boomer when it comes to this stuff. So don't anybody get mad at me. But yeah. So the wife. So doesn't mean I can't call her wife.
I think it's
She's
a partner. Yeah, I think they said
partner. Okay, partner. Check this out. So I looked at the comments to all that. And it was just the same old stuff. People are like, get the fuck out of here. It's so funny that do these editors of these people like wonder like why are we hiring these people? Because nobody's eating we're hiring these people because they promise to be like a voice to the Black community, but every time we make them put an article up, people are like, get the fuck out of here. I always wonder
they don't
about
care
that.
because it gets clicks. So the way the media game works is they
Mhm.
look at the number of clicks.
Mm.
Excuse me. Publications like this one probably see how long people stay on the page.
Yeah.
In addition to just the clicks, so they probably look at that. But as long as because that's what those are the numbers they use for the advertisers. So as long as they can show people go to the page, they don't give a fuck what y'all think about it.
So I'm gonna go through rapid fire a bunch of stuff because I want to kind of show people examples of how the game works and how to get around this idea of we didn't actually get a salary from Black Lives Matter and how that's very very easy to get around. So I'm gonna show real quick. Let me pull some stuff up. So I showed this last time, right? Let's see, where do I start? Okay, so and again, people are going to discredit it because it's going to be on Daily Caller and these right wing sites. But unfortunately, this is the only place you can go. But they have all the links, and these are all public information. Uh, Black Lives Matter co-founder rakes in 20,000 a month as chairwoman of jail reform group. So Black Lives Global Matter Network co-founder raked in 20 upwards of 20,000 a month, serving as chairwoman of Los Angeles jail reform group's campaign finance records show. Reform LA Jails paid colors to her consulting firm, Janaya and Patrice Consulting, a total of $191,000 in 2019. And I found the actual, um, I don't know if it's called incorporation, but the public records that shows the one-page form that you have to fill out to, become a member. I mean, to create your organization. And she's like the only person in the organization, basically. It's just her and her partner. So basically, um, it's just the two of them collecting all this money through this. Color's firm um, earned an additional 46,000 from Real Justice PAC, a political action committee co-founded by Sean King. I hate reading this stuff because you have to like go through all their like stupid right wing reactionary stuff, like left wing activists, Marxists. Like so. It leaves a bad taste in my mouth too. But Colors is a senior advisor to the PAC. She's a senior advisor to it. She's on the team. We talked about it last time. So
So
um
I don't actually have a problem in itself with being a consulting firm
yeah.
and getting paid for being consulting. Like even that amount isn't really unusual for a consulting firm on certain projects. Like I've seen it. I worked for a consulting firm who did work around social action, and my question is, what was the result of the consulting?
Exactly.
What did you do exactly? So the thing about consulting is you have to have, you're supposed to have tangible strategies and tangible benefits, right? So when I, for example, when I worked for a company, well, I worked for the nonprofit side. There was two sides to it. I was on the nonprofit side, but there was also the for-profit side. But I knew everything that was going on. But one of the things I did know is that as a consultant, you're having strategies, and the people are supposed to go out, execute those strategies, and then come back and hopefully those things panned out. If they didn't, you go back to the drawing board. So there should be actual records of these meetings. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is that this is true, and this is work that you're doing because you're touting yourself to be building a movement, and this is work that you're doing as part of that movement. What has come out of it? I don't want to just hear you have a consulting firm. I shouldn't just, and I certainly shouldn't just be hearing this from some right wing website. You know what I mean? Like this should be something that we know, and we're like, okay, she has a consulting firm, but she's been working with this organization and that organization, and they've brought forth these things. So again, these are things that they're listing when they're talking about how, when we ask how she got her money, nobody's saying, well, I've been working hand in hand with this, and these are the things we've been working on. This is what I've been doing. So you're right, I have made a lot of money. And that's because I've been very strategic in these things, blah, 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 blah. Like, give us actual answers.
Yeah. So that's the two things I want to talk about. Is the one thing you said that, what did you do? Was it just like a mafia no-show job or whatever? And they don't do that. But the other thing I wanted to show was that there's all these creative ways that you can be paid without having a salary. So what they said here was Patrice had received a total of 120,000 since the organization's inception since 2013 for Black Lives Matter, and that she has no salary, but they're leaving out all these creative ways to get paid. So it's not even like I'm saying she doesn't have a right to get paid or whatever, but I'm saying don't just use these semantics and act like you're just there taking a vow of poverty and it's all your books and everything that are really,
Right.
getting you these houses when
You're not mentioning these contracts.
yeah, you have all these contracts, some of them with like Black Lives Matter, some of them with organizations that Black Lives Matter gave money to, who are then hiring you guys back, so like that's the main thing I wanted to show with that was that the salary thing, there's a lot of ways around the salary thing, and it's so dishonest. And the fact that you're even telling stories like that just tells me so much. So a lot of these people. Oh, there was a statement in that last article that said where they sent a statement to Daily Caller, the right wing site, and said it's racist and sexist to say a black female executive shouldn't be making all that money. Like, I hate when they keep saying that, but this is Sean King's.
It's already annoying when people throw race in things
Yeah,
unnecessarily. It's like doubly annoying when they say black women. For some reason, for me, it's just like triple the annoyance because it's irrelevant. It has nothing to do with the issue that we're talking about.
yeah, exactly. So all these people want to say Sean King's a scammer, but she's on Sean King's board, and Sean
Mhm.
King's paid some of the consultancy. So
We know where some of Sean King's money went because we were that was the question before. What are his finances looking like? Well, he's passing them over to his homies.
yep. Um, this is more of the same stuff. But it's let's see if it has any different. This just seems to be like a rehash of the other one. This is Fox News doing a story that's basically just redoing the. So let's skip that one. That's redundant. I'll pull up another one. Oh, so the consulting firm went offline after it came out about the houses. So they took the consulting firm down, but if you look at the consulting firm, it's basically looks like a total we will help you succeed. It has a one-on-one coaching, anti-bias training, um all this stuff. But if you're doing this for your friend, for your friends' organizations, can you really prove that you were doing all this? Like, why does Sean King need to hire you to do all this one-on-one coaching and all this stuff? Like,
And what are you
what are you?
coaching people on?
I mean, just
How to
um,
how to get money for your organization? Is that what we doing?
I mean, it's anti-bias training, racial and gender justice training, long and short-term consulting, media strategy. But like, what does Sean King need all this stuff from he? Like, he knows how to do creative content creation. Like, I mean, the fact that Sean King was giving you all this money, uh, for like, I think these people just circulate the money amongst each other like laundering. So um Black Lives Matter is not going to pay me a salary, so that I can now say, hey, Black Lives Matter didn't give me a salary, but Sean King will give me something, and somehow I'll give Sean King indirectly some of my other grant money. And I just feel like just keep circulating.
Yeah, just put your name on a document. Now you're the founder of some organization, and now you can take donations.
Yet this is the part of the article that I wanted to show. So Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation has spent 4.5 million on consultants, travel, and compensation for its staff from July 2007 through July 2019, based on um, a recent report, while at the same time providing only 328,000 to outside groups such as the autonomous BLM chapters. So they paid more to consultants than they paid to their own local chapters. And
Mm.
those consultants are all their friends, and I'm sure that's how they managed to give a lot of payments to Patrice Cullors and others. So yeah, that I just find it really insulting, the whole I didn't get a salary thing. There are so many ways that they have been making money, and again, it makes me think that's more proof of that you just think people are dumb. Check this one out. This one was very underreported. um, BLM co-founder Patrice Cullors has funneled business to company run by father of her only child. So she has the father of a child, and
Oh my God.
yeah, so they reviewed the business records or whatever, and her baby daddy has a company called Trap Heels, formed just days before partnering with Black Lives Matter Global Network, and later became the charity's lead developer of the art and cultural efforts. according to business records and an archived version of Trap Heel's website. Her baby father took down his website too. So two other activist groups Colors led paid Trap Heels a collective 238,000 to produce an election night live stream and for consulting records, campaign finance records shows. In numerous public mentions of the work, Colors and Trap Heels chief Damon Turner did not disclose they had a child together. But in at least one instance, Turner said Colors was directly involved in Trap Heels' partnership with BLM Global Network. So I guess that's the socialism of making sure a family is getting.
So they probably don't mention it because I don't think he has any rights to the baby. I think he just gave them the sperm.
Maybe.
Yeah. This is crazy. So I actually know him extremely well.
Oh, you do?
Yes.
Oh.
There's actually stories of us, like, because he was also rapping, and I think the first time I met him, he was playing me his music, and I basically told him it was trash.
Oh no, I was hoping you said it'd be good.
I mean, it wasn't the worst thing in the world. I think I had
Gotcha.
very specific critiques, Yeah, but no, I know him very well. I don't know any of this though. That is crazy. I mean,
Did you know that he was the father of a kid?
Yes. Well, I knew, but I didn't. Like nobody told me directly, but I assumed and figured it out because of other things that I knew about him.
It says here she identified him as the father of her child in 2019 on an Instagram post where she said, this past decade, I healed my relationship with I am Damon Turner. We entered the decade developing a friendship and then having a baby. So it looks like she only might have come clean with it in 2019.
She used to be poly.
Oh.
So when I knew her, she was poly. And I think that was like the first time I'd ever even heard of it was when I was hanging out with her. This is like back when I was in college. This is so crazy me learning this stuff like on camera.
Oh yeah, it is crazy. I didn't plan to blindside you.
I feel very blindsided.
Another group, Colors co-founder and chair at BLM PAC, paid Trap Heels $74,150 for election day production, a second payment, and I mean,
so
I don't.
the thing is, I will say this as far as what I do know. It's so crazy seeing this shit online because Damon in particular, he's someone who actually does stuff in the community. So he's not somebody that's just elusive and she just gave him a check. Like he's actually very visible and very present. I would say more so than she is. And he actually does amazing work in the community. Trap Heels was probably one of his newer organizations, but a lot of the work that I've seen him do was pretty tangible, and he's really big on helping Black artists in the community because Black artists aren't in LA. As an artist, you can make money. It's not as easy when you're a Black artist. It's actually a lot harder when you're a Black artist, right? So he's done a lot of work around that. So it's just a trip, like seeing, like, okay, so you got I remember when you were hustling for donations, we were having to throw parties for donations. You know what I mean? And now you got just a check coming from Patrice. It's just a trip. I am really shocked right now.
Yeah,
and what's happening.
And it's like, I'm not disparaging the guy's work or anything. I'm just kind of showing how these people move money around. Like
that
the salary. What's that?
No, because KB said so all the BLM money went to studio time. I just want to make sure. I am not saying that. No, I don't even know if he still makes music now. He used to, but this is like I said, this is like 10 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, the main thing I'm trying to show with this is that there's creative ways to move the money around between your friends. Like the salary thing, I just think is so disingenuous. So regardless of what Damon Turner did with the money or not, because I have no idea of knowing that, but like the idea that she's got no access to any money from any of this stuff, except for just writing books and doing whatever. And she's doing like the point of this is that there's a lot of savvy going on, and this is something that's very interesting. BLM co-founders nonprofit moves to operate in other states as it avoids filing financial docs. Now, again, this is Fox News, so I gotta take it with a grain of salt. But I did like double check a lot of this information. They got it from the filings online, but she has another nonprofit called Dignity and Power Now,
Yeah,
right?
Dignity Power Now. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and um, they didn't file their requisite financial documents, so they were penalized by the Attorney General's office. But this is what I wanted to show with this, right? Um, They formed in 2012, failed to file an audited financial statement to accompany the 2019 tax forms, and the audited statement is going to need to be conducted by independent outside party, and they have not filed that yet. Cutter's nonprofit does not identify its donors in the tax form as disclosed, but the Washington Free Beacon reported that between 2017 and 2020, Dignity and Power Now received 2.8 million. So she got 2.8 million to Dignity and Power Now from the charitable vehicles of Facebook co-founder Dustin Boskovitz. So now, how does Facebook taking down any negative stuff about her look when you found out that one of the Facebook co-founders also gave her charities in 3 years $3 million through his then he also provided another 2.3 million to reform LA jails, another group founded by Colors. Then LA jails, so the LA jails thing that paid the money to her consultant firm was founded by her. So she was basically paying herself that
Mm-hmm.
consulting money, that 20,000 a month. And now when you find out that Facebook co-founders have given her $5 million, and that to two different, split up between two different things. And it also showed how like Mark Zuckerberg has like fired for consulting. It kind of shows, okay, so what does it mean when Facebook says, oh, this is hate speech to post things of her house? Because they need her to have credibility. They've spent a lot of money to buy kind of the appearance of social activism. It's gonna look bad on them, but plus also maybe they have a genuine relationship with her. Maybe they actually like her. But yeah, it's pretty
Yeah,
crazy stuff.
it's a trip because you can see very clearly that the money went to these specific places, and it's not something that you can hide, especially when you're doing consulting stuff. But it's a trip how they thought they could get, like, it's easy to sweep it under the rug.
I mean, it seems like what they thought was going to happen is, even though it's all public records, I mean, we've seen how the mainstream and left-wing media treats them. I think their hope was just to bank on. I think they underestimated the extent to which people would ignore right-wing sites. I think they just kind of hoped, hey, as long as Washington Post and New York Times and the so-called respectable sites agree not to cover this, and we have relationships with all like the big social media people like Mark Zuckerberg and whatever, everyone's just gonna ignore and not pay attention to Daily Caller, because that seems to be the only response to everything. Oh, it's right-wing sites. It's right-wing sites. It's but
Yeah,
black
because
people are changing. Like black people, I don't think are in the Democrat Party pockets like they used to be.
I think they've actually been fed up, and I think that's
Yeah.
been kind of happening for a while now. I think it's especially I think around the Trayvon Martin time is when I think people really got fired up. It's actually around the time BLM sparked it all.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think people are kind of like, well, we have Obama in office and we still seeing the same shit, and you not doing shit except preaching to us. You know what I mean? So I think a lot of people just got fed up, and so we're kind of like at this point where it's like we don't want none of y'all niggas if y'all not doing shit. So I think that's definitely um, happening. I wanted to actually plug some more shit.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
please do. Oh,
put
by the
some
way, if you want to put an episode of Afro Gin on the Champagne Sharks feed to give people like a preview of it, feel free.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, I'll make sure to talk to Kay about that because that would be definitely great for us. Because we're actually now independent of resistance to loss. We're by ourselves now. So that'll definitely helps.
Yeah.
But I wanted to show this quick little stream. So I know I keep telling you guys I worked on this docu-series and I don't think I've ever showed it to you. I'm going to
Yeah,
show you guys
please
the
do.
trailer. It's now, funny enough, it's actually now on Patrice Color's YouTube page. And it says a YouTube production, but we actually did it with Vice and Pulse Films. Pulse Films is owned by Vice. Let's see. Shouldn't get in trouble for showing a trailer. So it should be good. Can you see it or no? Actually, I think I need to put the.
As soon as it was about to come up, but then it didn't happen.
Okay, let me try again. Um, audio. That's another thing I keep forgetting to tick that little box. Okay, do you see it now?
Yeah, I see it now.
Okay. Can you hear it?
Not okay. Yeah, I hear it now.
Okay.
My son John was killed while he was under police custody. His liver was busted, his kidney was busted. The police did this. They beat my baby to death.
Actually help put
We
up
have
little
to
flyers.
reimagine public safety, and it has to go beyond a badge and a gun. The biggest goal right now is to stop the Board of Supervisors' $3.5 billion jail plan.
Because who are they gonna put in there? Me?
We have to join together as a community and fight for our rights.
It starts with one person and another person until the momentum builds and we see real change.
We're gonna reinvest these resources back into our communities.
Somebody's got to do it.
When we give more money to incarcerate a youth than educating a child in California, there is a problem.
I can't give up because I've been there. I have to be the voice for the voiceless.
So they may say this is an unlawful assembly. Okay, that's what you say. We know. Next.
This is a call to action. It is a cry for urgency. Black people are dying every single day. Enough is enough.
Okay. You guys see it.
How can people see that and track it down?
It's actually on YouTube. So you just type in Resist docuseries. Yeah. So it was originally actually exclusive on another production company's. They were trying to build another app, kind of like Quibi or whatever that shit was called. Black Pills, the French one. And so that's where they had it exclusively first. And then now they're bringing it to, now YouTube bought it. So now they have it.
Do me a favor, send me the link to that and I'll put it in the show notes. Also, I just realized I forgot to put on the I have to put that thing for you on the wish list. I totally forgot.
Oh,
yeah.
Yes, I'm in desperate need. My shit was revving up today.
Yeah, Vita's having computer problems, so we're gonna put that up on the wish list. So if there's any power simps, like
the other day my laptop just shut down for no fucking reason.
Yeah, I was having that problem. I had to get a new one myself. But I was doing streams and my thing was shut down and it's stream and it would be back for like 2 minutes while I was rebooting the whole thing.
Yeah, see, that's like I always cross my fingers and hold my breath when these things happen because you never know. But I was gonna say also real quick about that docuseries. If you guys want to know the stuff that I did, so what I did was everybody here talking face to face with the camera. Those are my questions they're answering. I wrote all those questions.
Nice.
In a lot of the shots that you see, especially in the beginning, I was there. Like the woman talking in the beginning, she's a beautiful person, just a beautiful person. She lives in Watts, and she tells her story. Her story about her son is just super heartbreaking. But working with her was just a blessing. She was just a beautiful person. So that docu-series is actually really good, despite Patrice's issues. Another thing I was going to add, though, it's funny that they didn't put it in the trailer, and I'm glad they didn't. But there were celebrities at that event. where we had blocked off the streets and put the jail beds up on the streets in front of the courthouse. Rosario Dawson was there. She's another one of those people who finds ways to hop in front of cameras for movements. I don't trust her for shit. A couple of people, I can't remember who all they were, but people in the industry like to be seen with, looking like social activists and shit. So also look out for a lot of celebrities that just pop up at shit. Not saying all of them aren't there, for legit reasons or whatnot, but just notice that there are certain people that tend to pop up, and Rosario Dawson's one of those people.
And the way it's getting these days, you kind of have to think that way, because I mean, look at all the stuff we're finding. Like, you can't trust anything at face value. They will lie
Nothing.
about things that you would think they would know they can't get away with. You know what I mean?
Anything that seems too contrived, even if it seems authentic, you can tell by how things are contrived that it's something that was planned. It was something that was it was inauthentic, because it's never the goal to be authentic in a lot of these spaces. The goal is to convince you of some shit.
Yep, yep, yep. And it's like we said before, a lot of these groups that they even donate to, a lot of them are their friends, their things, whatever. And there's a lot of celebrities involved in a lot of this stuff. Like, everybody's got like their finger in everything. So it's like, celebrities hang out with activists, and the people who are called activists are just like, everything's an activist, from the people who actually do stuff on the ground to people who just tweet. Like, all that is basically activism. There's no everything is flattened into activism. So somebody who's out there like feeding people, raising money,
Exactly.
doing all this stuff is called an activist, alongside someone who just tweets all day.
And I want to add that just going to a protest don't make you an activist. Because I'm gonna be real.
Yeah.
People act like a protest is the work. The protest is not the work. The protest is just a demonstration saying that there's a group of us out here who not fucking with some shit, right? And we not rocking with what's happening right now. That's all a protest is. It's literally just a demonstration. It's just something to say, hey, media, hey, world, there's this thing happening over here and we not cool with it. That's all that is. That's not an activist just showing up to those protests. An activist is consistently doing the work necessary to make the changes that they're trying to make in their community. That's every day.
And before you came on, we were talking about Kendrick Sampson. He's someone who I'm seeing everywhere now, in front of the cameras, and he was defending her too. And again, he had the
Who was
same
Kendrick Sampson?
the guy from Insecure, who was the light skinned guy with the green eyes, who had the bipolar or depression issues. He dated Issa for a second, then disappeared, then came back, and it turned out he had a barbershop.
Oh, the cute guy with the like hazel eyes, sandy brown face.
Yeah. Check this out. This is my final thing before I sign off. Then I'll let you plug any last things you want to plug, or talk about any last topics you want to talk about. But BLM leaders jail reform group reportedly spent $26,000 at luxury resort. A jail reform initiative chaired by Patrice Concolors, a self-described Marxist leader of Black Lives Matter, reportedly shelled out nearly $26,000 for quote-unquote meetings at a luxury beach resort in Malibu, California in 2000. Reform LA jails paid $10,179 for quote meetings and appearances at the Calamigos Guest Ranch and Beach Club, and $15,593 at the Malibu Conference Center, which is owned by the resort, according to campaign finance records. The records covered the period between July and September 2019, and show. And again, I'm not pocket watching and saying these people don't have a right to spend the money on what they want to spend it on. Like, by all means, spend the money on whatever. What I'm talking about is that they're using organizations to do this. And I want to kind of show how there's a million ways you can buy things for yourself using an organization. If anything, paying yourself a salary is stupid, because you got to pay taxes on all that. This is ways you can pay yourself and make your money stretch further, right? So it's a consulting firm owned by Asha Bandele, the co-author of her 2018 book. So if you look at her book, when they call you a terrorist, co-author is called Asha Bandele. So um, her co-author also owns a consulting group, and that consulting group paid. And I bet you, if you look, you're gonna find out that that consulting group is one of the groups that was paid in that 4.5 million that Black Lives Matter Global Network was paying to consultants. Right. So it's a 200-acre resort with exclusive access to a 5-acre strip of the Malibu coast. And no one says why they had to book meetings at that site or what the meetings were, right? So this is Patrice Carter's hanging out with Jane Fonda at Reform LA jails. The California Fair Political Practice Commission says that campaign funds must be used for political, legislative, or governmental purposes. This is Kendrick Sampson and Patrice Cullors, A Party with a Purpose. They had like a day party and whatever. But this is an example of like the electric slide thing. They're always having these kind of parties. So that's among the stuff that they spent on. But it's unclear why the group booked its stay there through a consulting firm owned by Bandele, who raked in nearly $260,000 in consulting fees from Reform LA jail. So the co-author of her book, so Patrice Cullors has her own consulting firm with her partner. Her co-author of her book has her own consulting firm. The co-author of her book's consulting firm was paid $260,000 in consulting fees from Reform LA Jails, one of the nonprofits that Patrice Cullors owns. So Patrice Cullors, by my count, now has 2 nonprofits and 1 consultancy firm. These people are all just circulating consultancy things to each other, and it's just a interesting thing. And it's all to say that it's such a narrow thing to say I didn't get a salary from Black Lives Matter. It doesn't mean anything.
Right. And it's offensive because, again, it's a deflection from the real conversation. Because I didn't get a salary doesn't answer where the fuck is the money. Like that's really what it boils down to. Even scarier is where you're pointing out the money is going. It doesn't sound like it's going anywhere tangible, and it just sounds like people who have organizations or other companies or whatever are just and are her homies and they're getting money. If none of this is my thing though. If the things that people are accusing you of aren't true, why don't you address what people are actually accusing you of?
Exactly.
I don't want to be the person who knows you and then I'm having to sit here and be like, wow, didn't know this crazy shit about you. You know what I mean? I should be able to be like, well, she did point this thing out. Whether we agree with it or not, at least there's some answers. There's no answers. And you're doing all these, media engagements, having your homies do media engagements. You're having articles written about you. You got Facebook taking shit down about you. Like, all this shit is not answering the fucking questions that we really have. And I think are legitimate questions. You're touting yourself as an activist. So what is it that you're doing? What work have you actually done other than collect checks?
Oh, yeah, for sure. And here's something Ice on Info says. And yeah, the 26,000, for that retreat, like, I get it and everything. And I agree. It's more that I want to show that these people's organizations can do so many things as far as paying each other and paying. So that 26,000, nobody had to spend out of their own pocket. But,
and I don't know the details of those kind of retreats, right? So, like, as a person, I used to be a project coordinator, and my job was to plan things like retreats or events for the organization I worked for. And never has, as a nonprofit, have I, any nonprofit I've worked at, have I been given a budget of $26,000 to plan a retreat or an event. Because that's a lot of money. And don't get me wrong, those things can get pricey. I would say, I probably gone up to like maybe 10,000. But for a nonprofit to be able to spend 26, but they're not a nonprofit, right? For a group,
well, actually, some of them might be, because the smaller ones, I'm not sure. Like,
but BLM
Black Lives Matter Global Network
isn't a nonprofit.
Yeah, I think the reason why they were able to find how much these people spent is because these things they did make nonprofits, and then
Right. So
these public records came out. That's why the sub things are actually more accountable than the main Black Lives Matter global network.
right. But BLM Global Network itself is not a nonprofit, but they're collecting money, right?
Yeah.
And but my thing is by doing that, you're being deceptive. And I think that's more so where I feel like there's such deception. I get that retreats cost money. I get that sometimes you're gonna have to spend money for travel. If you have, 5, 6, 7 employees that need to be a part of this, it's gonna cost you money per person. I 100% get that, 100%. But it just seems so deceptive when we're finding out that people getting money are your homies. It seems so deceptive when we don't have answers to all the other questions. That's where it gets tricky. Go ahead.
Exactly. She was doing like, she was accountable for all this other stuff. I'd be like, you know what? You guys earned that. Knock yourselves out. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
I'm not a hater or a pocket watcher. It's just,
I'm not either, for
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
I like when people get money. I just don't like being deceived.
Exactly. That's it.
I'm okay with y'all getting money. I'm not gonna pretend like I'm super capitalist, but I definitely feel like, if you worked hard, hey, I'm not gonna tell you not to get your money. These white folks out here got money and they ain't giving a damn about none of the shit they do or who they do it to. So it's not even about that. But don't tell me you doing one thing and that ain't happening and I'm seeing you pop up with some shit. That's where I get a little annoyed. And then there's no answers. People really donated thinking that they were helping.
Exactly. And that's all I had to say.
Yeah, that's
So,
pretty much it. I mean, you've been going almost 4 hours now, so I just hopped on late.
oh yeah. Oh my God, you're right. I just looked last time and it was like 2 hours and 59. Then suddenly I look and now it's 3:40. Yeah, that's my cue to go. I'm sweating in this room too. This room's like hot.
Yeah, I haven't
So
eaten, so I need to eat something. But no, I didn't have anything else. Just make sure you guys check out African Revolt. Keep on the lookout for that. You can follow us on on Twitter at Afrogen AFROGYN Revolt on Twitter. And
you know what we can do? We can don't give us the whole episode. Like give us like, if it's an hour, give us 20 minutes so that people will then go to your feed and listen to it.
Oh, for sure.
There, yes. So yeah, give it to us like a preview. We'll put a preview of Afrogen Revolt on the Champagne Sharks main podcast feed.
It sounds great to me. I'm with it. All right. Well, anything else?
No, that's everything. Thanks everybody for supporting us. And if for people who are watching this after the fact, you don't have to be watching it live to help us out. So you can hit us up at PayPal, champagnesharks@gmail.com, or Venmo or Cash App, Champagne Sharks. And of course, subscribe at patreon.com/Champagne Sharks. You get access to all the extra episodes and the other goodies. And yeah, that's basically it. Thanks everyone for joining us. Yeah, and if you become a patron, you get to join the Discord, and that's a whole voice and chat server of a whole community of Champagne Sharks fans. So a lot of the people up here in these live chat, you can talk to them over there for sure.
And me, I join sometimes. I'll be in there.
Oh yeah, she's definitely up in there. So you get to talk to Vita too. So yeah, there's gonna be an influx of simps that's gonna happen, but that's good. Everyone's welcome as long as you're a fan.
And Patreon subscriber.
Yeah, Patreon subscriber, exactly. All right, guys. Take care, and let's get Vita a computer. I'm gonna put the link up at our Amazon wish list.
Absolutely. Call over and say, I'm desperate, y'all. I need it. Anyway, good night, guys.
All right, good night.